you'll see this tonight, but the caucus meeting is March 5th, and so we're going to cancel city council on March 5th. So we have a meeting on February 20th, March 19th, April 2nd, and then that next meeting is the tentative budget. So I think between now and then, one of the reasons the mayor put this out, hopefully none of this was too much of a surprise or a shock. It's kind of stuff that we have been taking notes upon the last couple of years as we've been talking about budget, and we see it as the council's priority. But if any of this isn't your priority or you have other priorities, I think now's the time to talk about it. Then I'll go back, and as I start to draft the tentative budget, I can make sure this stuff's included in there. And so I think that's kind of the direction that I need as I'm drafting the tentative budget to make sure the council's on board with what we're talking about here. And then those next meetings, we can adjust them. We can cut things. We can reprioritize if there's not enough money. We can add more if there's more money, whatever it has to be. So that's the vision that I see coming out of these meetings.
Next week would be Planning Commission, next Tuesday, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. It'll be Planning Commission, so.
But I don't know that we have anything on the agenda as of now.
Oh,
So,
what I was just kind of mulling around a little bit is maybe we meet where we can actually have some time to discuss some of this stuff a little more in depth. If there's no, I don't want to, if the Planning Commission is scheduled for Tuesday night, we better just leave that alone, but perhaps a Wednesday night or something like that, we can meet, and if that's something, that won't work for you, will it?
yeah, so,
Get some ideas from the planning commission, just their little, it's the same thing, no? That's a different view of,
yeah, we could. I foresee it as the council's role a little more.
true,
You need to pick the dates. I'm gonna be gone.
We,
You just gotta go for it.
yeah, we could hold special budget meetings and only talk about the budget in between now and then if we wanted to, if we got rolling and we needed extra
Okay.
time.
Yeah, let me get this straight. We're not talking about holding budget meetings, because we can do that during city council, but you're
Right.
talking about the
Just the
vision,
vision,
getting together on top of city.
prioritizing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Are there,
Do you think that there's enough, this night is set aside for city council, so can we start at 4:30 and?
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
do another 5 o'clock
Hit
and
an hour and a
go for
half.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks or something?
yes,
Because then we're not competing, and
Okay.
I don't mind putting in an evening here because I plan on it anyway, and
does that work for the rest of you?
I would rather come an hour early on this Tuesday than
Tuesday.
try to come on a Wednesday. That's just me.
Yeah, so
Let's just-
February 20th, we come early again.
Okay, so
and-
we plan on an early meeting on maybe 4 o'clock,
it had to be, I can't be here till 4:30, but
4:30.
that's the
Well,
earliest I could be here.
okay.
And we could see if there's any workshop agenda items, because we could do 5 to
And then
6:45.
Between now and then, I can maybe get with everybody
Right.
and make sure that we got everything sort of laid out so that we've got as much work done.
True.
Is there a way to offline communicate and still keep it a?
We could probably get like a Google Doc going, and if we had some priorities on it, we share it with everybody, and
Basically, you want to see what, out of like these things or something else, what's our priorities over something.
Yeah.
That, and I think we need to identify even what they are.
I
At
agree.
this point, I have no idea what they are. I have somewhat of an idea, but, and
Well,
I
that's-
don't know, I find that if we can get something going that's offline, and I can be reading through that and making comment on, and all that, we could move it along a lot faster than everyone think about it, come here, and then discuss it, at least we could start to fix the list a little. How do you guys feel about
Me and you
that?
were-
Does everybody feel good about Google,
I don't
like a
even know how
Google
much
Doc?
money they got.
Back and
so-
forth?
Yeah, well, so for us, it's, for me, you know, I don't know how much
Yeah. And that's,
to divvy out, so.
yeah.
Never
and
enough.
it is complicated
I know
because
it's not, but
each fund pays for different types of projects and you can't pay for some projects with other funds. And so it does get complicated, but if we can put it in, I can insert it into the budget and let the council know if we need to make transfers to that fund or if we just can't do it or whatever it is.
I think what's most important is we identify what are the most important projects.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can figure out funding and if it can, but, you know, is this road more important than this road? I mean, I don't know. That's where I'm so confused on capital projects.
I think we got it on them roads, that's gotta be the road people saying the roads that they're spending all their time on fixing and,
Right.
you know, they can tell us which ones are the worst.
And the public will tell us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You'll hear it from them more than you'll hear it from us.
But that's a good point, but, and so I think on capital projects, the first thing that's gotta come is someone's gotta create at least a
Priority.
starting list of, here's all of the projects.
Then you maybe gotta have some numbers with it.
Yeah,
So if you say you got whatever.
Then
This
we
is a
prioritize.
$50,000 thing and we can afford that one, but
yeah.
whatever.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Or we can find a grant here or things like that.
And with a Google Doc like that, we can all get in and comment on it.
Never heard of it. You'll have to help me download it, Mark.
Okay.
Okay.
Mark takes care of all my
Real easy.
stuff on, yeah.
Do it there real easy, so.
Okay. I think
But
this
that's
is,
just capital projects. Each one of them's got their own little
yeah,
nuance, right?
they do. And so back up, just go back a slide and now that we've kind of seen the,
When you gonna start your temporary budget?
I've started it. I've rolled last year's over to this year, and then I'm working with the department heads to get their figures or their changes.
Is that shareable? I mean,
Is that even last year's for like me, just to. see
Yeah, I can get you last year's.
the-
It's not easily shareable, but it is. I mean, if you want it, I can.
but it's just
Give
be
it to
nice to, I really wanna dig into it this year, and I think Lyle wants to do the same thing, but if you're making changes, it'd be nice to see the changes in real time.
We did buy a software this year. I was hoping to have more time to delve into it to kind of make it so this presentation is going to be great. But as of middle of December, I kind of got
You keep
got
a
off the track.
consolidated sheet that you've put together.
Yeah, I'll keep that for sure. That'll be easy to update. But I can add you as a viewer on that.
Viewer would be great.
Yeah, and then you can see it, and I think you'd be able to figure it out. You got what it was last year, what it is this year, and it will have a percent change. But it doesn't really have like the total numbers at the bottom of each fund and stuff like that. It's just more line for line.
Question.
Yeah.
So if last year's budget is a beginning point, will you show us any surpluses that may have existed in any of the funds so we can see that compared to last year's budget?
Yeah, so the surpluses, the hard part with that is we're right in the middle of last year's budget. So when I say last year's, I mean this current fiscal year. And so a lot of big expenses come out at the end of the year but I could show you 2023's final budget and where we had some surplus.
Thank you.
And that's what I give to Lyle. That's what he likes to look at with where it was, what we actually spent, and what we're budgeting this year and what the difference is. So,
do you have any other questions? That sort of gave you an overview. Let's just plan on the next council meeting beginning at 4:30. That'll give.
That work for
Brett-
everybody?
That'll work for everybody. Okay, so let's begin the next
20th.
council
Blair
meeting.
has to sneak out early.
What's
So
that?
do I.
Me and Blair's the only ones got jobs here, so.
All right, well,
He's the boss and I'm the
I know.
low, so.
we'll plan on, we'll plan on that then, and then plan on an hour and a half at the next council meeting. Start delving into the budget and how the priorities and everything next time. And Mark and I will try to get together and maybe look at the costs. So back up just a little bit.
Because I don't think this discussion is just about capital.
No, it's not.
This is more vision.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's about all of these. And so,
Priorities.
especially this moving down, I think Main Street and some of that is sort of, we just got to decide on Main Street. Sorry, Lindsay. We're kind of decide on Main Street what are our priorities. And if this is really what we want to try to accomplish this year, to improve Main Street, then we know we have this much money and we can sort of start prioritizing lighting and some of this streetscape and some of that kind of thing, just to make this, Main Street is struggling right now, and this will be our effort to sort of brighten things up a little bit and maybe make it a little more, hopefully be an incentive to a catalyst to help others come in and businesses and so forth.
I have a question. The 400,000 for Midland Square, is that set in stone that it goes in then Midland Square? Okay.
Yeah, yep, it is. The RDA money, that's money that we've been putting away for several years, and we've got a balance of a little over $1 million there. So really, that's that $1 million that, somewhere in that, we've committed a certain portion of that. 405 is the state's portion, and then we have to match it with a little bit.
It was like 170.
Make it.
So we've got to be able to match some of this. So that'll come out of the RDA. And then the balance of that amount would be what we can use to do lighting or whatever we decide we want to do there. So that's Main Street. And then, and that pretty much is funded. Everything that we see right there, unless there's something else you want to do, at least the service area and the ASR and the equalization basin, that's all funded. And there may even be some extra money there to use for some other water sources. And then personnel, that's going to be a big one there. We've got to spend some time. Roads, another big one we needed. But what we can do is we can start showing what's available, and then you can prioritize how you want to do it. Yeah.
You just need to really insert in there. Jeff brought up the question, can you show me the excess and the funds and that type of stuff, which that's what our question is all the time. I mean, how much have we got and can we use it in a better place and that type of stuff. But I think we need to have Curtis come back and give us the talk again, that there needs to be certain amounts left in the funds so that you're stable as a city. We all need to hear that again, because I've forgotten those numbers.
Okay.
And it really would be good. I mean, because when you put the budget together, we're looking at income and expenses.
You're looking at a
But the excess
balance
is in the
thing.
balance sheet. And it would be nice to see what the excesses are in the funds, so that when we hold these priority discussions, we can see if we actually got the money or not, or if we're just talking in the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know how hard that is to put that together. I think that's gonna
It's
take
not.
some
So,
work.
well, Curtis, as of July 1st of 2023, he takes the fund balances. And then what he does is he takes everything that was budgeted for this current year, and he takes it out of the fund balances, because he kind of puts it as set aside for projects that are to be paid for this
Good
year.
for us to see the amount of money and how much is left in there to keep the city stable.
Yeah.
And then another column showing us what the excess is.
Yep. And
We
he,
can understand.
yeah, he has that. I'm just saying it's of July 1st of 2023, looking at the next year's budget, and then he gives us the fund balance, how much we can spend, how much we need to save to keep the city safe. And I have those numbers.
Okay, good,
So,
good.
Yep.
That's something we can sort of be prepared to come with at our next meeting then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yeah, we just gotta, then the projects come up and this project's going to take out of which fund, and so we gotta just kind of
Or
be
if
able
we
to
can
match
take them
those
out
up.
of those funds or not. That's the discussions we need to have.
Yep. So,
Kind of my temperature on things right now is inflation's outdone what we've earned on our money sitting in the bank, and it's come back to bite us a little bit. And if we have money we can use to let's start using the
Yeah.
money to do things in the city. Let's not just leave it in
It's-
those accounts.
Amen.
Because it's costing us more to do something now than it used to if we would have done it in the past. That's my feeling. I don't know if there's a fact to that.
No, there's
there's-
absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, okay, good. Do you have any other questions there? We're good. Okay, 4:30, the next council meeting will start, and we'll start hammering out priorities and so forth.
Where
And
are you gonna go with those responsibilities?
yeah, I can do that. I've got,
Or did you wanna wait on?
we're you gonna do that today or next time?
I think we've got it. We were going to wait until next time and actually have it. I've spoken with some of you, but what sort of,
Okay, we can wait.
let me see here. I've talked to most of you. I haven't talked to you yet, so maybe I'll need to talk to you, make sure you feel good about what we're thinking, then we'll make it official next time. The duties. So each council member we've divvied up some duties and so forth.
You haven't talked to me.
Okay, and then Wes, I've talked a little bit about it, but we'll talk more.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, let's wait until next time. Oh,
Pull up Zoom. Zoom? Let Tyler in if
Hold your
he's
breath.
there.
That's what
Oh.
I have to do.
so- all right, Mark?
Yeah, so I was wondering if, and I haven't talked to Mark about this yet, but if we could flop you. Do you have some time tonight? Okay. Tyler Seaman, he has another presentation down in, what city is it? Washington
Valley,
Terrace.
wasn't
Washington Terrace.
Washington Terrace, yeah.
And so he needs to jump on right at 6:00, and so this shouldn't take too long. Let me go get Sam, because he's another part of this.
Sure.
There's Tyler.
Where was Sam hanging out? Outside? I didn't see him.
So to give the council a little bit of background on this, I've asked Tyler Seaman, who is our building official, contracted building official, and then also Sam Taylor, who has been doing a lot of work for us with landmark design. He's been doing a lot of long-range planning for the city. He also does some landscape work for us, like at Jeannie Stevens Park, the park strip. Sam put that planning together. You can come up to the table. You guys have met him before. He's come and given a couple presentations, but I just wanted to give an update just because as you know, Sean was doing so much of the planning work in the city and he's gone. And so I just wanted to give the council an update as to where we're at. I wanted you to know that we're not letting the ball drop, but it's going to be planning by committee for a little bit of time until we can get somebody fully on board. So I'll just let Tyler introduce himself first. He's been doing the building consultant since like April, I think. And then let Sam give a little bit of an introduction, and then I'll fill in from there. So.
Okay. Well, yes, like I said, I started doing the consultant side of things for building inspection in April of last year, 2023. I have an extensive background in building inspection, plan review, all that side of it. And then I have enough to be dangerous in land use zoning. I help other cities do the same thing. They're a lot smaller and definitely not as busy in nature with the planning side of things. And I've expressed that as a concern that I'm more than willing to help with. I think the most important thing as a community is to be able to answer the questions that come in on the daily. Questions like, where can I put a fence? How high can I put a fence? Where can I put an accessory building on my property? Those are those day-to-day zoning questions that I handle and are a very easy transition into the code. So I think that'll be really seamless. And then, like Mark was saying, it's definitely a team effort. There's a lot of back-end things that happen in the planning and zoning world. And I think that with the help of Sam and then Mark is doing a fantastic job. I chatted with him a couple of weeks ago when Sean was leaving and said, are you feeling overwhelmed yet? I think I mentioned at one point, do you have your mouth over the fire hose yet? That is going to be definitely what he's going to feel. But I feel like over the last week and a half since Sean's been gone, that we are getting dialed in on what projects are in the city and what has actively been working. We've already met with a couple developers on the side as a team and are working towards making sure that the ball is not getting dropped. That is the most important thing to keep the progress of the city going. And I think we have a really good opportunity here to fill in for the city while most importantly, why you guys are really making sure you get the right person in there, because this is a job that is very important and it can really impact the city. Without having the right person in play, it can be really, really challenging to have someone that doesn't operate or doesn't follow the codes the way that they should be, and is not able to talk to the city council and be able to convey why it's positive or not. So I'm excited. I think it's going to fit in really well. I'm in Tremont, and now I'm in Tremont every day. I was maybe once or twice a week, and then have a few employees that do inspections for me. But now it's going to be me in the city doing more of the planning stuff. So I'm excited to be part of the team. I love Tremont.
Thanks, Tyler. Sam, do you want to give a background of kind of your work and how you foresee yourself in this role?
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Taylor.
Why don't you pull that over there closer to you there?
Is that better?
Yeah. It's
Okay. Yeah, Sam Taylor, Landmark Design. Our company's been working with the city since 2020, when we began work on the land use plan the city's using as part of the general plan. So, since then, I've been working with Sean on a number of planning issues and related issues as well. So and with Mark. So I think, we have a good handle on what your vision is for the community. I think that's an advantage. And so, and I've built a lot of rapport with the Planning Commission during these last few years as well. So working with this team, the vision is that site plan reviews would come to us. And we'd be doing those plan reviews, checking them against your ordinances and making sure they're meeting the needs of your community, and then bringing those review notes to the DRC, working with that group, and as needed, taking items to the Planning Commission and working with them as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
What kind of time frame or what kind of time sink do you think that would be for you guys? How many hours a week, or what's your thoughts on that?
yeah, that's a good question. I think it's going to vary, obviously, from what we receive, from the different applicants. I'm not working alone on this. I'm going to be assisted by at least 2 of my staff. And they're very familiar with these processes and have actually been doing this for some other communities. We've done comparable work for Heber and South Ogden. So
what kind of time do you put in on those places, like Heber?
yeah, those review timeframes are, I think typical is a couple weeks, but sometimes it can go faster depending on what it is. So.
There was a
Question, though.
recent, so just this week, Jack in the Box is needing a draft development review or a draft development agreement. And, I've pulled together all the notes that we've had inside of all the DRC meetings that they've had with Jack in the Box. And I've worked with both Tyler and Sam. Tyler to figure out the fees that we need to be charging them for building permit and impact fees. And Sam, over the last couple of days, has thrown the development agreement draft together, and we've shipped it off to Jack in the Box so they can continue their process and make sure that they're meeting their deadlines. And both of them were very responsive, and both said they'd have their stuff done by Monday, and it was. And so it's all in Jack in the Box's hands now. So that's just one example of how we're working together. So.
I remember you gave a presentation quite a while ago at the Planning Commission and to the city, and you had mentioned on development agreements the pros and cons of those, and we were feeling some of the pain of the cons of development agreements. Where am I headed with this? Is there a way we can standardize development agreements versus making them individualized per development coming in? Because that's when I think we get into the gray areas and we start to get people feeling favoritism versus
Yeah.
the opposite. And so I think we really need to get into standardized development agreements and whatnot. What's your feelings on those?
I think that, historically the city's used them a lot, and for better or worse, I think. And so I think that's a conversation we'll want to have as a group as to how to, I think there is some room to standardize that and make sure that there already is sort of a template in place. I think that template can, from my experience with the last one, can be improved upon. And we can make sure that we're making sure that standard items are being hit every time we do those. But yeah, I think that's a process that needs some further exploration, so.
Any other questions for Sam? Thanks, Sam.
You.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate that.
You bet, thank you.
Well, and if I can just say is that your knowledge has been amazing, and you've really helped us through these steps through all these years, and it's been fun to watch the progress and the things that you've put together, so thank you.
Thank you. We love working with Tree Mountain, so it's a great community.
Are you going to be able to stay with us through the evening a little bit, or are you got other commitments?
I can stay as long as you want.
He lives down in Salt Lake County, so
Oh, we better, okay, never mind. Maybe what I can do is, you've been really involved with Midland Square project and helping us out there, and appreciate that.
Absolutely. Happy to help. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, I guess we're good there then.
Alrighty.
okay,
I'll hit the road then.
okay. Thanks, Sam.
You all.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, you guys.
So the reason we brought this up is did I miss something when I went out?
Yeah, so the other planner didn't work out, the full-time. We are still, and Sam knows this and Tyler knows this, we are still looking for a in-house planner. If that planner happens to be a little less qualified than maybe what we were shooting for in the beginning, then Sam's, we can keep him on as consulting. Tyler will still be doing our building official stuff. And so they know, right? Yeah, they know that it's this. They're really helping us out. I think both of them said we have enough work. We don't have to do this, but we are happy to help because they enjoy the community and enjoy working with us. So, but the long-term or the midterm plan or the next plan is to get a full-time employee to be doing a lot of the stuff that Tyler was talking about with the questions and the zoning and then letting them do plan review. And it's nice to have one person walking a developer through the whole process because then it's not being passed off. But we have some processes in place that is going to try to make it as seamless as possible. Everybody's looking at the same documents the whole time. But yeah, to have somebody in-house working on that is definitely where I
Who
want to
holds
go.
the developers to their heat on the feet? When we have different people, who's gonna make sure they're doing what we told them to do?
Yeah, so we still have, Paul will be part of this with the public works side of it, making sure that our utilities are taken care of. The engineer has to stamp the documents. The engineer will be reviewing all of the plans that come in and has to stamp them with his signature. And so if they aren't meeting, general code and stuff that Sam's picking up on and that Tyler's picking up on, the engineer won't stamp the documents for them to continue forward.
So I'm going to ask the question again. So there has to be somebody that is
Yeah.
riding horse on this thing. So you got so many different people going on. Which guy is really in charge of the planning?
But it's,
You are, because
yeah, I mean, it will land on me with their help. I've asked them, I don't know how many questions over the last few days, making sure that it's
As consultants, then they'll be the go-to
for
they'll
the,
be the ones riding the horse, right?
as far as like the detailed plan reviews and things, they'll be doing that. I'll know of all the stipulations that go along with it because we note those down in the special conditions, and but we won't pass anything unless those stipulations are.
And so
taken
I'm going to
care
go
of.
back again.
I will.
Everybody's making sure that all the checks, boxes are crossed off and that type of stuff, but somebody needs to be the front for Tremont City so that the customer, the developer, or whoever has the question that's trying to get worked out feels like they have a contact.
Yeah.
And
And
so-
I've been that contact, and I'll continue to be. I've worked with.
Pull that away from you, right?
The goal is to pull that away and get somebody that's Tremont City's face to be in the community development department, and then they're the face and they're walking them through. And then if there's any special needs or anything, they can come to me and we can work through it.
Planning commission play any kind of role with that?
That gets kind of sticky.
Yeah, the way the law is now written, it really can't. Yeah, it's more administrative processes. So, but yes, I will. The goal is to get it to an official planner.
There's
Somebody
nothing worse than working with somebody and never knowing
who you're supposed to be talking to.
the person is, who the point guard is on the deal.
Yeah. So far, it's been me. With-
Mark will be attending the DRC committee. You'll be there at the meetings and,
Yeah.
so he's going to be well integrated.
Yeah, I've been adding them to the agendas. I've been making the connections with them and these other consultants. I've been working with, Jack in the Box's architects and their engineers, and so I've been the point person, and I'll continue to be.
Okay.
I would think there would be some developers, big heavy hitter developers that know their way around stuff, and I think we need somebody to make sure they're not getting away with it type thing.
Well, and that's what our consultants are doing for us.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you still got somebody that's gotta walk out there and go, what happened to, and
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's doing.
Well,
it.
yeah,
It's hard when
Chris
it's not-
and Paul, it's status quo on them. They go and do inspections on a weekly basis. Every week after DRC, they go and make their inspections, so.
Is there some point that we can, or do we need to talk about the person that we offered and there were some problems there? I mean, do we need to go into a closed session and talk about that and see if there's other things we can do, or?
I think it's passed.
Said no.
Yeah. I was in on the discussions, and he
Change the pay structure?
he doesn't feel like it's
Not money. he wants.
what he wants to do, the way the position is.
Okay.
Okay. Mark? Do we have everything we need to discuss
On them, yeah.
with Sam?
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip home.
Keep you sailing. Thank you.
All right,
You bet.
Thanks. I'll introduce Mark. He, about, 8 months ago or something? Maybe it was longer than that.
6 or 7. Yeah,
6 or
somewhere.
7 months ago, we received, we were applying for that CDBG funding to do the ASR project. And the ASR is kind of a specialized, it's kind of a specialized project. And so we went out to bid to get an engineering firm who is specialized in ASR projects. And I would think we received 3 or 4 different engineers. We interviewed them, and the city picked CRS based on their qualifications. So I've asked Mark to come, and you'll notice tonight on the agenda is approving the engineering services professional agreement with CRS. It hasn't changed since they submitted it. And, but I wanted him to kind of give an update to the council. We got 2 new councilmen here, Councilman Holt and Westergaard. So they were probably in some of the meetings when the ASR was talked about, but but if you want to kind of give them an idea of what the project is and where we stand and what kind of the moving forward.
So at the city's primary springs, just off the Bear River, right now it's pumped up to one of the tanks. And the project is twofold. One is a civil project to put a booster station there, pump it over a rise to a currently privately owned well that the city's planning to take over, and get that infrastructure in place so that water that right now can pump to the tank from the well can now be pumped to the tank, can be pumped from the tank back over to the well. And that way we can inject water. So the first part of that is design and construction of that system of valves and pumps and pipes and some valving inside the building, and getting all of the physical and mechanical improvements that need to be made to the system to allow it to function as an ASR well. For those that aren't super familiar with the ASR is aquifer storage and recovery. So this well in the past has functioned moderately well at times, but later in the summer, it always starts to see significant drawdowns and runs out of water to be able to produce. And so the intent is to inject more of the water coming from the springs into that well, build up a larger store of water right around that well that we can use longer periods of time throughout the summer. And that becomes an additional source for the city moving forward. And the second part of the project is to actually then at that point run a full pilot study with that well and start injecting water and observing how the aquifer responds, how the well responds, what are the proper injection rates and recovery rates and times of year. The ASR gets tricky in that regard, in that when you are pumping water from one place down into an aquifer, anytime you've got two differently chemically composed bodies of water, they react with each other. And so looking at just how different they are, if we've got chlorine in the water, what does that mean? Does it need to be dechlorinated before it's injected? Is there any other treatment of the water that needs to happen before it goes down the well? Problems that have been observed in wells like this all over the country. You can have the different chemistries reacting and you get off-gassing of carbonic acid and carbon dioxide. Or you can get mineralization because they react and you get mineral scale building up on the well. So over time you'll see a reduction of efficiency in the injection. The pilot study is intended to minimize and mitigate as many of those as possible for the long-term operations of that injection system. So that once we get to the final operation and we submit the permit to the state, we are now ready. We've gone through all their steps. We can say, this is what we're doing. This is the final design. This is how we're going to operate the well. So for two reasons. One, with the state, they have sort of an accounting system where they will keep track of how much we've injected and how much we're allowed to withdraw. If it's within the same year, typically it's 1 for 1. If you've injected water that you don't need this year and it goes to next year, then you get a haircut depending on where you're at, anywhere between 15 and 35 or 40%. Some places have been as high as 50% in the first year, just because of how quickly the aquifer is moving. We don't anticipate that at this well, but then the second year you'll have a bigger cut on what's still available for you to use. So you can't just put 10 years worth of water in and then pull all 10 years out in 1 year. It's not there for you. It's moved on into the hydrologic system. And so that second part of the project will be documenting and testing those characteristics and capabilities of the aquifer so that we can finalize the application to the state to have a recharge and recovery, permanent recharge and recovery project at that site. And those are the primary two elements of the project.
Great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Back to the basics again. So this is up on the east bench, correct, over in
correct.
Deweyville?
Yes.
So we're already pumping water up to a holding tank, and you're going to take water out of the holding tank and put it over the ridge into another aquifer,
Yes.
into a private well. This is the first time I'm hearing this. So
I thought that well was ours.
I may have misspoken. It was a private
think
well. It
we
was
purchased
drilled.
the well.
Yeah, it was originally.
it's our well, right?
Yes, it is. Sorry,
Yes.
it was a
It is
private
well.
well, so it wasn't originally part of the city's
Yeah.
system, and that has now been acquired, and that's why we're doing this.
In the Cedar Springs.
Yes.
Okay.
That's ours.
And so, this process you're going through to get permitted by the state, how long is this going to take to go through this process?
Typically, from the time that we start, and I mean, we haven't fully started net yet. We're waiting for approval from you. We're going to have to design and construct everything to get the water over there, and then we would have to watch it for pretty much one season or a year, one hydrologic season. So you're about a year and a half out before everything is to where we should be able to start making those submittals to the state. So it's about all in all before you have final approval, where we haven't built anything. We don't have things in place to be able to start injecting water right now. you're probably about 1.5 to 2 years out from final approval with the state.
How many of these have you done before, these
ASR wells.
ASR?
Several. So we are also teamed with another firm that does dozens of these every year, all throughout the country. In Utah, there's not very many of them. We're actually well behind in our regulatory status with ASR wells. There are a few. Brigham City has one. They bring water down from Manaway and they inject it in one of their wells. Weber Basin has some that are kind of in the piloting process, but they're not using wells. They're using gravel pits that they're just pouring water into and then watching how it seeps back into the ground and gets down to the aquifer. And those are more common. I know Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District in Salt Lake County has several of them, and we've worked on at least 6 of those. But this other company, LRE, they are a specialized only groundwater firm. I'm also a geologist. I do a lot of groundwater, but my firm is general civil as well. We do roadway and rail and groundwater and municipal services. So we brought in LRE to supplement that, and they have done dozens and dozens of ASR wells all over the country.
If we're going to put a bunch of money into this thing to get water over, to test it for a year, I mean, that sounds like a lot of money to be spent on the come.
It
hoping
is.
that it's going to happen.
Absolutely it is. And so this is all up to the city, how you guys want to do this, but I would say this. The cost of putting this system in and getting it up and running is significantly cheaper than drilling a new well and trying to find a new, complete, brand new water source. And so that's what we're trying to do, is maximize this asset that you already have by using it as an injection well to recharge the aquifer around it, instead of going for a whole brand new well and well house somewhere else, in which case you're talking somewhere closer to $1.5 million to $2 million. And that's if you get water where you drill, which in that area is tricky. I know Bear River Water Conservancy District drilled a new well up there not too long ago. It did not turn out well. So it's a little bit tricky in that area to find those. And this whole area has some geophysical properties. There's a lot of warm groundwater, some thermal, geothermal springs and wells. Obviously, we have the hot springs, Crystal Hot Springs right over there. And so finding a place where you're not getting significant influence from those geothermal areas is really tricky. You've got a place already. It just isn't getting enough recharge into that because of where it's at. We're trying to artificially do that.
Essentially, you're just pumping water when we're not using it into.
Yes. Yeah, so when you don't need it
Underground
in the,
storage tank.
because you have a water right in those springs that runs year round that you do not fully use. And so in the times when you do not need that fully, you're pumping it over into that well so that when you do need more water, you can use the springs and pull more water out of the well.
During the winter, we're just.
They're not even
putting it in
on.
the Bear River.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, it's
them
just-
pumps don't even.
Yeah,
kick
right now
on.
that's all it's doing is it's just flowing into the river.
Yeah, whereas it could be charging that well now.
Yeah.
And it's good to note that this is all, grant funded. So, that's going to be a plus thing. It's one thing to, make a commitment with
With
your
city
funding,
dollars.
but,
Yeah.
when you got somebody, the grant funding helping you out, it makes it so it,
Oh, I'm unaware of that. So is it totally getting paid for?
Yeah.
Totally? Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah, so we have the $200,000 from the CDBG grant, plus we just received the 1.1 million from the state for water projects. And part of that will go to the balance will go to the ASR project, and the other part will go to the equalization basin on the East Canal.
Now that 1.1 is that COVID money.
I don't know if it was COVID money, but I do know it's water money that
That's been
the
used
state
for
has.
That grant.
water holding ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's water money. It's on the agenda tonight to approve that contract.
Oh, the COVID money, yeah, that,
Is the capacity of the well such that it would meet our needs for the next 5-10 years or more? Or should we be looking for additional resources?
Based on your projected future growth, you will need to look for future resources, but it should get you through. We were looking at previously with your engineer was about 10 years.
10 years? Thank you.
Questions? Other questions? Very good, Mark.
Thank
You have anything else for us?
No, looking forward to working on this one.
Yeah, we are too. We appreciate very much all your work,
No problem.
explaining it to us, and
No problem. And if there's ever any questions, please feel free to let me know and
Will do.
we'll do what we can to answer them.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll, let's just take a little short break for just a second, and then we'll turn the time over to you, Dustin, for the training. Oh, man. Go ahead and get started with the rest of our meeting here. Oh, Lordy. Wow. I said, oh, Lordy.
Whole community, it looks like. Yeah, for you. That's what it is.
We're going to continue with our workshop agenda. We've got Dustin Erickson. Each year, we as public servants are required to have a refresher course in the Open and Public Meetings Act. And we asked Dustin, our city attorney, if he would come and give us that training today. And so you're all welcome to listen in, and we'll turn the time over to you, Dustin.
Mayor, that's the whole reason everybody's here, I think, right? Is open
Open Meetings Act, yeah, that's right.
Exciting stuff.
It is exciting stuff.
I knew that I grew up here for a reason. These are my people that like the same
Okay,
things that I
very
like. So, we're going to start with just a quick training that's actually put on by the state. So, Lindsay, if you're okay to pull that up, a quick YouTube video. I think it's about 8 minutes.
Can you turn it up a little bit? That's about as loud as
Coming from mine, yeah. Restaurant, there you go.
Needs to discuss or act upon government business. It includes the meetings sometimes referred to as workshops or So what is the Open and Public Meetings Act? It's the state law that ensures government actions and deliberations are openly conducted. Before we continue, keep in mind that this video is an overview and exceptions may exist based on your entity type. We focus on local government, not state requirements. When in doubt, read the law and consult with your legal counsel. So what's considered an open and public meeting?
Yes.
It's when a public body quorum, also known as a simple So what is the Open and Public Meetings Act?
Can't win.
And exceptions may exist based on your entity type. We focus on local government, not state requirements. When in doubt, read the law and consult with your legal counsel. So what's considered an open and public meeting? It's when a public body quorum, also known as a simple majority, meets to discuss or act upon government business. It includes the meetings sometimes referred to as workshops or executive sessions. Regular meetings, public hearings, electronic meetings, and emergency meetings are all open and public meetings. Open and public meetings don't include chance or social meetings. A public hearing is a type of open and public meeting where citizens have a reasonable opportunity to speak. Public hearings happen when a government adopts a budget, imposes or increases taxes or fees, or transfers money from an enterprise fund. These meetings have extra notice and posting requirements and won't be addressed in this video. An electronic meeting is a type of open and public meeting that's convened electronically, such as via phone or the internet. Remember, the governing body must adopt a resolution, rule, or ordinance allowing and governing electronic meetings. OPMA adds additional requirements too. An emergency meeting may be held to discuss an urgent matter due to unforeseen circumstances. In order to hold the meeting, the best notice that's feasible is provided of the time, location, and topics to be considered. An attempt is made to contact all governing body members, and a governing body majority approves the meeting. An open and public meeting may be closed to discuss any of the following: a person's character, competence, or health, collective bargaining, litigation, certain real property transactions, including any form of a water right or water shares, with specific restrictions, security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, investigations of criminal misconduct, and private or protected information per the Utah Procurement Code, including trade secrets. A closed meeting may be held only if a quorum is present and the meeting was properly noticed. 2/3 of the governing body present at the meeting need to vote yes to close a meeting. Quick math lesson. 2 divided by 3 equals 66.7%. Let's say your governing body has 5 members present at the meeting. If 3 out of 5 members vote yes, that equals 60%, which is not equal or greater than 66.7%, which means you're 1 member short and would need 4 out of 5 members to vote yes. During a closed meeting, a governing body can't interview someone applying to fill an elected position, discuss filling a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, discuss the character, competence, or health of a person whose name was submitted for consideration to fill a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, approve any ordinance, resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment, or take a vote, unless it's a vote on a motion to end the closed portion of the meeting and return to an open meeting. When a governing body closes a meeting, the following must be publicly announced and entered into the minutes of the open meeting in which the closed meeting was approved. The reason or reasons for holding the closed meeting, the location where the closed meeting will be held, and the vote of each member of the governing body either for or against the motion to close the meeting. If a closed meeting is discussing a person's character, competence, or health, or security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, or several other exceptions, mostly related to state bodies or project entities, no recording or minutes are required. However, the presiding member needs to sign a sworn written statement stating such. If the closed meeting is held for any other reason, a recording must be made, which includes date, time, and place of the meeting, names of members present and absent, and names of all others, except where disclosure would infringe on the confidentiality necessary to fulfill the original purpose of closing the meeting. Regular open and public meetings require 24 hours notice. The public notice includes the meeting, agenda, date, time, and place. Public meeting agendas need to include reasonably specified topics to be considered, with each topic listed under a separate agenda item on the meeting agenda. The governing body may not consider a topic in an open meeting that wasn't on the agenda. If a new topic not on the agenda is raised by the public during an open meeting, the governing body may discuss the topic. However, final action may not be taken on the new topic during that meeting. Additionally, entities holding regular meetings scheduled in advance over the course of the year need to provide annual notice of the entire year's meeting schedule. The notice must include date, time, and place for each meeting.
Notice is posted on the public body's website, in a public location such as the location where the meeting will be held, and on Utah's public notice website in accordance with Utah Code 63G-30-102.
Typically, posting on the public notice website is done by the records officer, recorder, or clerk. However, it's the governing body's responsibility to ensure notice is provided. State Archives has prepared a training manual and quick guide for owners and posters, as well as training videos that can be accessed at their website, archives.utah.gov. Written minutes and a recording are kept of all open meetings, with few exceptions. Written minutes include the date, time, and place of the meeting, the names of members present and absent, the substance of all matters, names of citizens providing comments, the substance of the comments provided, any information a body member requests be entered into the minutes or recording, and a record by individual member of each vote taken. A body with elected members must record each vote in list format by category for each action taken by a member, including yes votes, no votes, and absent members next to each member's name. A recording must be a complete and unedited record of all open portions of the meeting from beginning to end, and be labeled with the meeting date, time, and place. All or any part of an open meeting may be independently recorded by any person in attendance if the recording does not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Pending minutes means written minutes of an open meeting in draft form subject to change before being approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Pending minutes must contain a clear indication, such as a draft or pending watermark, that the governing body hasn't yet approved the minutes, and that the minutes are subject to change until the public body approves them. Approved minutes means written minutes of an open meeting approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Entities must establish and implement procedures for the public body's approval of written minutes. Public meeting pending minutes, approved minutes, and recordings are public records under GRAMA. Any individual who publicly presents information relating to an item on the public body's meeting agenda must provide a copy of the information for inclusion in the public record. pending minutes available to the public within 30 days. Within 3 business days after approving written minutes of an open meeting, make approved minutes and any public materials available at the Utah Public Notice website, the entity's primary office, and the entity's website. Within 3 business days after holding an open meeting, make an audio recording of the open meeting available to the public for listening.
That's a very quick of the Open Meetings Act and that training before. I did also want to draw the council's attention to an ordinance that was passed last year. The state legislature in Title 10 allowed cities to make order and procedure rules for the council meetings and for other meetings, and Tremont City chose to follow that and adopt. And so, again, this is ordinance 2305 that just has an outline of the rules of order and procedure that this council adopted last year and is still in effect. All that being said, are there questions? Are there common places where we ever feel like we're going the wrong direction or anything like that? Please.
Clarification on the social events where we might have a quorum present. What types of social events can we do?
Great question. I think last week, Assistant Chief Crockett may have had a retirement party. Something like that would be, all of you could be present and it wouldn't be an issue, so long as you didn't begin discussing council matters. But yeah, this is a great question. I think holiday party, things of that nature.
The League of Cities and Towns meetings that we usually all attend.
Yeah, yes, those don't need, although the league may even publish that a little bit, I'm not sure, but certainly where you're part of a workshop or a training session that's different, where specific council business shouldn't be attended to and certainly not voted on, then we'd be okay in those scenarios as well.
So what's a quorum?
Well, in your group, we count the mayor even though he's not a voting member. So anytime that there are 3 of you in any, whether it be 2 council members and the mayor or 3 council members, that would be a quorum for this group.
And if you're in a outside event together, 3 of you, I imagine that's okay. You just do not talk council business, right?
Yeah, it depends on the nature of the event. If it's an event that's specifically scheduled for something about the city, then it becomes, but if you're at the high school play or something like that and all in attendance, I think that would fall under that. I don't think that would fall under the social that Councilmember Hope was bringing up earlier.
The question, and I believe it came from you, but writing where Sean had asked a question about what a quorum was here in a 6-member council, that a quorum was 4. Did I just hear you say 3?
That's what I was going to bring up too,
Yeah,
Dustin. I was just pulling
I
up
did
the
say 3.
email.
It is 4. No, it's right. It's 3 council members and the mayor, or 4 council members. I apologize. Thank you for that. It's exactly right. I misspoke.
So I thought only 5 of us vote.
Yeah, it does, with a 6-person council, which is what Tremonton is, even though the mayor's not a voting member, because there are situations where he can vote, if he needs to unlock a tie or their like city manager position, he can vote. Because of that, he counts as a part of the quorum and is necessary to make a quorum. So 4 of you in any combination are required for a quorum. Any other?
We're all just, I was just thinking, if 3 of us missed a meeting, we're not a quorum then, so.
Correct, and in that situation where it's posted, you guys could still move ahead with the meeting, but you couldn't vote on any business. So,
And you can join in electronically, and that counts as a,
correct. Right. In a perfect scenario, or I guess it would be an imperfect scenario, but we would hope that that notice of somebody joining electronically would come to us beforehand so that we could properly notice it that way. Although I think, and Mark and Lindsay, you guys put it on every meeting, right? That some may join electronically, yeah, and that's allowable by code.
Now, several years ago, we took the stance, if you will, that we listen to the public, but we don't comment. And that really was not well received, nor did it feel good.
Yeah.
So now we're taking more of the stance that we take public comment and
how should we act up here off of those public comments that are being addressed to us?
Yeah, so if somebody comes, a member of our public comes and makes a comment during the public comment session, and it addresses something that's not on the agenda, you guys are allowed to discuss it, but you can't take any action. So you guys could discuss it as part of the open meeting, and then if you decided you needed to take action, you could just alert Lindsay and Mark to put that on the next meeting, the next meeting's agenda.
But the interaction is we can discuss and answer questions and things like that. That's
Correct.
all, okay.
But it's different if it comes from that side of the table. You guys need to stick to the agenda.
Oh, we
So-
do, yeah.
No, and I wasn't insinuating that you don't, just making that clarification that you guys on that side cannot start a new topic, but if
No,
the public does, yeah.
But we're addressing public comment. Absolutely.
All right.
Any other questions for?
Thank you.
That was an exciting part of the meeting that you're gonna have, right?
What's that?
That was the most exciting part of the meeting you're gonna have today?
That's what we're all gearing up.
Probably heading home now.
I suspect that as well. So, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Also, just so everybody's aware, don't ever hesitate if you have a question. Drop me an email or give me a call. Don't ever hesitate on that. So,
Right, very good.
so.
All right, let's see.
Sarah, do we have a lot of kids out there? Some?
Thanks, you guys.
We're going to have, for those of you that kind of haven't been here for a while, the first council meeting of the month, we have schools, we give out citizenship awards. And so there'll be quite a few young people that will come in. And so if we can kind of work together and make room for these people and their parents as they're coming in, and that'll be the sort of the first, after the opening exercises, that'll be sort of something we'll go into right away. Usually they don't stay, they'll get their awards and the parents and the kids will
10
leave.
years.
Yeah. Anyway, so if we can just all work together and make room for these people as they come in, appreciate it.
We're
We will,
politicians.
we'll begin at 7:00 sharp. So we got a little bit of time. We can mingle, I guess.
Do we have more chairs?
What's that?
We don't have many more, but I
We had
could
some folding chairs anywhere?
have some rolling chairs that we could put up.
We bought 40 more chairs or
That's,
something.
they're all in here.
Are they?
Yeah, every chair we got's in
Every
here.
chair we own is in here. But we can also turn on the lobby TV too, so
Yeah.
you can hear it out there.
Yeah, but make sure when you're talking, you talk into the microphone if we turn that on.
Yeah, if it's on the outside.
It's 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start our meeting. We're a little bit limited on seating, so hopefully you'll be able to find a place to sit down. We got a little seating in the back if you need to find some back there. We'd like to welcome everybody out here this evening to our city council meeting. We have a great agenda here tonight and some important things that we need to discuss that we hopefully will be able to work our way through that. But most of all, I just want to recognize our young people here with us here today. These young people have been examples in their schools because they've been such good citizens. They've been worked with the youth, worked with their schools, and they've shown responsibility in their school. They've shown citizenship. They've been safe. They've been willing to make sure that their schools are safe, and all of these things that are so important. We're just really grateful for. We've got their principals that are here with us tonight as well, and we want to recognize them and recognize the schools for the great job that they're doing. Thank you very much. And welcome to the rest of you. We're grateful that you're here as well. This is going to be a good meeting. Council, we have one thing we do is if there are any conflicts of interest, we are required. Many of you are here for the Open Meetings Act, and they talked a little bit about that. Are there any conflicts of interest tonight?
No.
Okay, we're good to go there. Council, I entertain a motion to
Wait a
approve.
minute, well, you gotta go back to the opening.
What did I forget? Everything, didn't I? Forgot
Got
everything.
everything up to that point.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Start with 1.
I'm so nervous about tonight, I forgot what I was doing. Okay, here we go. Opening ceremony. I've asked Jeff if he would give us an opening word of prayer. We'll go to that point, and then Parker is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance as soon as Mr. Holt is done, okay?
Dear Lord, please hear our prayer. We thank you for our country. We thank you for our military and first responders and for all the safety and security that they provide to us. We thank you for all the hard workers at all the levels of government and here in Tremonton for striving to serve the public well. We thank you for the public presence tonight, and we ask that you guide us all to recognize each other well and to make the decisions that you would have us make, Lord. And we ask that you let us know thy peace. This I pray in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Parker.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Parker. Very good. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, back to the agenda. Approval of the agenda, council.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
Motion by Lyle Vance and seconded by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for January 16th of 2024.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of January of 2024.
Motion by Wes,
I second.
second by Blair. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Years of service. This is going to be kind of special. We got Brett Rhodey, who has been a city council member for now 10 years. And stand up. Want to show our appreciation for 10 years, 10 long years of service.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Okay, this is what we've all come here for tonight. We're going to give out these citizenship awards, and what I'll do is I'll call your name, and then we'll ask you to come up. And when you come up, I'm going to ask you to stay up here, okay? So we want to make sure we get a picture of you while we got you up here. So,
Principals, you want to get the principals?
yes, and, oh, yes, and Principal, we've got, Dax, are you here? Okay, well, anyway, why don't we have the principals come up as well, and then we'll, what?
Lacey McKnight is here from North.
Lacey McKnight, okay, Lacey,
Who's here from McKinley?
Cedar Hauser.
Okay, and then we have someone here from Alice Harris. I see him every day.
yeah. And Jeremy, and, okay. And Jacob, is it? Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. We have a little gift for you as well. When you, Mrs. Desson right here will give you the gift, okay? And just plug your name up. All right, Maya Christensen. Elon Penrod.
Oh, coming from out there?
Yours in the back, do you think?
Yep.
Here we go. Here you go. And then if we can just have you come over here by your principals. Parker Collum. Macy Reese. Can you hear us in the back? Macy Reese. Okay, Thomas Walker. Hiram Earl. Here you go, Hiram. Emery Lefevre. Katie Nielsen. Is it Hattie? Hattie Nielsen. Blake Snyder. Josh Lewis. Coraline, did I pronounce that right? Coraline Jolly. Coraline.
Line.
Coraline. Coraline Jolly. Sophie Castino. Maisie Danzy. Madison Black. Make sure these students get their certificates.
Mayor, make sure we didn't miss somebody.
Did I miss anybody?
That happened once.
Okay.
Oh, right there. We missed one. It was stuck together.
There we go.
Cord McMurdy.
There we go.
Oh, now we got it. Okay. Let's look in here somewhere. Yeah.
Everybody just squeeze together.
Blake, go behind these guys. Stand there.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That'll be on the website in a day or two, right, Sarah? Tomorrow?
All right.
Very good, you guys. Thank you so much.
Good job.
North Coast, right?
Good job. That's the most we've had missing.
Yeah. 4, that's not.
4 or 5?
17 we have this time.
Lindsay,
Yes.
when I get started, will you just bring that up? That-
Dad's boy.
Oh, yes.
Dale, I thought you were like way we sure like it.
You got a layout of the park?
What's that?
You got a layout of the park, so
Yeah, there's a
if they see it, I think.
And I think what I was saying is
battery in a while?
about any new information. Start sending out new information, and they can. Good idea. Instead of just rehashing.
Yeah.
All right. We'll give it just a few seconds here for set back down. Okay, why don't we go ahead and continue on with our meeting? Our next section, next item number 8 is our public comment period. I'm going to take just a moment here and just kind of, I'm assuming that many of you here are here with questions about the Midland Square project. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to take just a brief moment and explain kind of what's going on there. I can see several of you service members, veterans. Maybe there's some concern about the memorial, the Veterans Memorial. That portion of Midland Square will not be, there will be no changes to that at all. That will stay just exactly as it is today. We're not going to change that at all. The sort of the reason, the purpose behind this project is we want to make this an area where it's a little more convenient for people to come and gather in the area. The idea behind it is to become a catalyst for Main Street. The research shows that as we bring people into the area for gatherings, for different things over time, that has a positive impact on the Main Street economy. And so this is sort of the thrust behind this project. It isn't we're not trying to desecrate anything. We want to make it something that's better, more useful, and but holding on to the important things like the Veterans Memorial and so forth. So there's been one person who has asked to have a couple of extra minutes. I've granted that person. She said she can do it in 5 minutes. But for the rest, what I'm asking that you do, if we've probably got a lot of comments. If there's new information that you have that you need to share with the council, that would be great. If we're just sort of rehashing the same thing over and over again, we probably will not that's not very beneficial, not very helpful. We just need to You know, we need this information, we need to digest it and everything, but we need to not just start rehashing the same thing over and over again. So with that, I'm going to ask.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
It's important for everyone to realize too, this is a concept. That's all it is, okay? Just a concept. And so if anyone comes up and talks and you got some ideas and all that, please share, okay? So we're open.
Yeah, good point. Marianne called and asked if she could have a couple of extra minutes, and so we're going to let her go first. And then, like I said, everybody else, we get 3 minutes.
Okay. Can I ask you something? You pass tapes on and then pass them to I need you to see these so that you understand what I'm talking about. And they need to be seen, actually.
Is her speaker turned on again here?
Is this on? It's, oh boy. Okay, thank you. Well, good evening. I'm Marianne Matney Valenta. I was born and raised in Tremonton. I own a home here, I pay taxes here, and I have 9 family members buried at the cemetery, and my husband and I will be buried here also. I'm here in the hopes that no one else will ever come across a scene like I did at our cemetery. If you look at those pictures, I'd like you to turn it to, you'll see this, that's how the top page is what it looked like last year, and this is now how it looks, what happened to it. Okay, a scene at our cemetery like I did last week, I cannot describe the shock and the sadness. In preparing a Carter family grave for burial, which wasn't even by my family graves, 7 of my family graves were desecrated. My family plots were used as some kind of a staging area for a full-size backhoe. The backhoe went back and forth over my graves. The graves were dislodged in different ways by their weight and the turning of the backhoe. The mud was so deep on the headstones you couldn't even see the names. There were ruts a foot deep and some places worse. Mayor Lyle is my friend, and I called him immediately, asking him to please meet me at the cemetery. He arrived and was as appalled as I was. He and I both have buried children, and those graves are especially hard to see harmed. One of these is my daughter's. He assured me that everything would be repaired and put back into order. You can see in the pictures I have given you how lovely that area had been, and it will take a lot of work to get it back. The person that desecrated these graves did it willfully, knowingly, and thoughtlessly. These are the graves of my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, and my daughter, my only daughter. The man that was driving the backhoe is also a city councilman, Mr. Eastep. He did approach me at the gravesite. He didn't apologize. He saw what you're seeing. He said it just had to be done. Under no circumstances should any burial do that much harm to existing graves. There is no excuse for the harm that was caused. There were obvious alternative ways this grave could have been dug. Again, it wasn't even by my family graves. My question is, did Mr. Eastep have a supervisor that okayed this job? I believe Paul Fulgham is the head of the department. Did he think this was a good idea? I believe people who work in cemeteries should be held at higher standards than this. They aren't digging ditches. Cemeteries are hallowed ground and should be treated with reverence. I'm confident that Lyle will follow through on the needed repairs, including the dirt work, resetting the stones, leveling and cleaning the stones, and resodding everything. There are rules and regulations and actual laws regarding burials and how existing graves and headstones are treated. The Public Works Department needs to review this information and instruct the cemetery workers to act accordingly. The city needs to have a proper size excavator for digging graves. They are actually called cemetery excavators, which are mini excavators. I believe the people of Bear River Valley need reassurance that this travesty will never happen again in our cemetery. Okay, I just need to take a quick drink. Okay. Now I'd like to address the Midland Square issue from my perspective, and I kind of have an interesting perspective. The Midland Square land was in negotiations to be sold to a tire shop when I became involved. The city wanted to buy the property but could not meet the Hom Green's asking price. My husband Jim Linford and I asked the city what was the difference in the price, and we gave them the money, and it was considerable. And that facilitated buying Midland Square. We had one stipulation giving the money, simple. We just asked, and this is being done, we asked that the alley be removed and to prevent people from driving along the alley that was there against the building that has the picture on it. And they did put a post there, so people can't drive through it. The post is still there. That was our only stipulation. We wanted nothing else. I'm telling you my involvement in Midland Square so you can see where my interest comes from in this proposed project and why I'm standing here. 3 generations of my family have had businesses on Main Street starting in 1906. Growing up a block off Main Street, Tremont was my neighborhood, and I loved it. Jim and I were happy to be able to help Tremont have a town square. Our vision was a square which would have trees, flowers, benches, just something pretty on Main Street. We didn't know then what it was going to evolve to. That would have just been enough. I understand to build this plan. Now, I thought this was a done deal, so it's kind of how it's going to sound here. I understood that to build, I understand to build this plan, except for the Veterans Memorial, you are planning to demolish the whole square and get rid of everything in it. But progress doesn't require destroying everything old. It seems to me that some of the existing squares should be kept in recognition and honor of a community that came together to create this square by their donations. There were donations such as trees, benches, the clock tower, the lovely statue of the children, money and brick pavers, contributions from organizations, monetary donations from individuals, and just plain time and labor. It was all donated. Some of the very few things that could be kept in your new plan would be the beautiful bronze statue of the children and the benches that Charlie Taylor donated. Out of respect for many donors, please keep the brick pavers. Many of the pavers are in remembrance of loved ones that had been a part of Tremont's past. If even a few things could be kept in the plan, I believe it would show appreciation to the original community donors that turned the Midland Hotel ashes into something lovely. I've seen the plans and they're beautiful. They are. And include many improvements. I especially like the arches over the entrances. The bathrooms are a great addition, and the level ground will make it a more usable square. However, I do not like the idea of replacing the previously mentioned brick pavers with a splash pad. We don't need another splash pad. We already have one 3 blocks away at the library park. Why would we want to incur the liability, the maintenance, expense, and definitely we need to conserve water. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mary Ann.
Okay, Christy Bocut. A while ago, Wild passed out this book, 13 Ways to Kill Your Community. It states lack of public involvement. We need to listen to the public, have a voice, and let the public have a voice in what's going on. Choices that city leaders make can sabotage, this is bugging me, can sabotage their own success. It goes on to say money does not fix problems. Identify the problem, work to fix it. Adding money to a problem is not the fix. It causes us to lose focus, resolve, and that means we will end up right back where we started. When the solution starts with money, we fail. The problem is empty storefronts. Lyle, you've said that yourself. We don't have people downtown. Empty storefronts is the problem downtown. The owner needs to take care of that. The owner needs to actively look for occupants in his store, upgrade the storefronts. Don's Furniture did it themselves. They upgraded their storefront. It looks beautiful. It looks great. But we are not babysitters for the owner. If you want people downtown, those storefronts need to be filled. When President Wilson was here, First, I'm proud of all the veterans that served all over the world. My husband was in the Guard for 7 years. It wasn't until this past year that he would say, I am a veteran. His name isn't on the monument, but many others are, and I'm proud to stand with all the veterans in this world that have given their lives, given up their time and their service. President Monson said this park is to reflect, to open the floodgates, to allow hallowed memories concerning those who have served in America times of peace and of war. The square is a place to ponder and to remember. I ask that you consider that when you're making your decision. So we'll identify the problem. The problem is empty storefronts, tired old front storefronts, not enough parking on Main Street. The solution is Don's Furniture fix up their own storefront on their own with their own money. Go search out merchants that will fill the spaces in storefronts. Move the farmer's market to Schumann Park. It's only a block off Main Street. It will not kill a soul. There's plenty of parking, large trees, open spaces to do with whatever you want to do. There are 2 stages in town that are not being used. We don't need a third one. You can amend your bond that you got for Schumann Park, for the Midland Square, and amend it so it will work to make upgrades to Schumann Park. You raise taxes by 50% and by 53% property taxes. This is hurt. Each time you have a farmer's market, you close off First West. I've been on the receiving end of the ambulance, which I've said before. Time, minutes, seconds count. You do not know how much congestion it is going to add if you add a bunch of more stuff down there. The EMTs, the fire department, they are first priority, not a farmer's market. Let's not throw money around. Let's fix the solution. Let's fix the problem. It looks great on paper, but I do not think Tremont City needs another piddle pad.
With all due respect, excuse me, I'd like to have my voice heard regarding what is being planned to the Midland Square property.
Can you give?
This is personal to me because I have 5.
Give us your name.
Oh, Julia Wardle. Okay.
For the record.
Okay. This is personal to me because I have 5 brothers that are represented on those memorials. I feel that this area defines our community and the love and loyalty we have for our veterans. Our veterans who risk their lives to show love and loyalty for our country. Have you ever visited Pearl Harbor or the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? I have. And while visiting, I have felt very strongly the sacred and solemn feeling that unmistakably exists in these areas. Why can't we create the same environment for our own veterans? I can't imagine putting a farmer's market or recreational facilities in those memorials of solemnity in Washington, D.C. and Hawaii. Why shouldn't our military men deserve the same respect? Midland Square was set aside and dedicated in our veterans' honor and for no other reason. I have a lot of respect and gratitude for A.C. Christensen, who put a lot of time, money, and effort into the memorial, and who served in the Second World War and spent 3.5 years in a Japanese prison camp. I think the whole plan would be disrespectful to him and would show disregard for his efforts. I don't feel that any other activity on Midland Square area is appropriate, and it would completely overshadow the true purpose of the memorial. I attended the Veterans Program at the high school this last Veterans Day and couldn't help but notice a few students would not stand for the flag or say the Pledge of Allegiance. To me, this showed the lack of knowledge and respect for our veterans that is taking place in our country today. We do not need to be a part of this problem of minimizing our veterans and the service that they gave. I feel that putting in a farmer's market in the sacred area isn't going to bring more business to the Main Street stores anyway. Shopping at home is a bygone era. The trend nowadays is to shop online. You can get anything you want, and it's delivered right to your door. One more point I would like to make is that Midland Square is already the most beautiful place on Main Street. So if you are concerned about beautification along Main Street, do not destroy the beauty that's already there. I feel that if I'm going to protest this action, I should offer a solution. So my solution to you would be to take your plans to Library Park. They would welcome you there. They want you there. They'd love to see this happen to their park, and there's more room to work with there. I want to thank you for listening to my concerns, and I hope that you'll act appropriately in this manner. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Rick Jepson. First off, I want to thank each of you for being willing to serve. There's always tough decisions to make, so I really thank you. I'm just here to express some of the same sentiment that's going on with you've been to Arlington before. I've been there 5 times. Midland Square is Tremont and Zone Arlington in that essence. So that's not a splash pad. Is that just a fountain? Just a fountain. But I understand about tearing up pavements and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think there should be activities like that there to maintain the reverence and the serenity that's there, like at Arlington. And the farmer's market, I don't think would have to go there. It could go in a nicer location like at the Schumann Park. But I don't think I have a problem with some of the leveling and stuff. I don't know. Someone might not agree with me here, but the stage and bathrooms is probably a nice thing too when people come there. Also probably for memorials and programs that are there to honor the veterans. Right. So my only concern would be, do we need a lot of those activities there in congestion downtown? I know that it's not completely quiet there for the reverence it should be for, the sacrifices made, because it's right on Main Street. But yeah, there's compromises. There's, different ideas in that. I don't really think a farmer's market or things like that would have to go there. But I can see beautifying downtown, but this is nice to start with. So if there's some modifications, I don't have a problem with that. But again, thank you for your service to the community, and hope you consider a lot of the things that people are talking about today.
And we are. Thank you.
I know. So thank you.
I'm Harry Gephardt, and my family came to Tremont in 1910, and my grandpa and 2 uncles bought a building and a store that was already under control, and the man was just tired of the retail business. We stayed for 77 years. One of the places that we went in the 4 locations that we've had in town was the Midland Square. And the mayor's grandpa, David, and my uncle, Fred, were very good friends.
I got something I wanted to kind of show you. So there's the old hotel right there.
Yeah.
And there's the Golden Rule store.
That's it,
That's it.
exactly. Thank you. And the Golden Rule store is still represented on the east wall and that was their thing. They did live by the Golden Rule. And I was fortunate enough to continue the family business until 1987, when I kind of made a few mistakes and got out on a log and cut myself off behind it. And we ended up having to go to a sale to pay everybody off, but we wanted to go out with our heads high and pay everybody else. But I would just like to borrow from Lee Greenwood just a paragraph about how I feel. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, because I'm very proud that I could admit, God bless the USA. Thank you.
If I can just take a minute, I'm Dave Kilfoyle. I'm the commander here of the American Legion. And how many of you have been back to Arlington? Any of us? Okay. What did you think of that? Over 400 acres. And them soldiers that's out there guarding that tomb of the unknown soldier was told during, when the hurricane was coming in, don't go out there. They said, we're sorry, we're gonna. When that jet flew over, it crashed into the Pentagon, it damn near broke their eardrums because they wouldn't leave. They respect the veterans. And as Rick stated, why would we want kids running around there, crawling all over the monument, the people in the monument? Why? We got Midland Square, we got the library park that's already got a splash pad. Why not put it there? Besides that, there's more parking. You know, why? And are you going to block that road off to the side? Where's everybody going to park?
You're asking lots of questions, and, yeah, go ahead and finish your thought.
Okay.
I won't interrupt you.
No. I just asked a question, and I was hoping somebody could give me the answer. Where's everybody going to park?
There's, yeah, sure, it's going to be full during these events and that kind of thing. There's parking to the south and there's parking north and south of Main Street. There's parking. That's the whole idea, is we want people downtown. We want people to come down and enjoy this. As far as kids, walking around and looking and playing on looking at the monument and touching it, and more power to them. And absolutely, we want to have kids to understand their heritage and what's, that kind of thing. It keeps being brought up about the Midland Square being dedicated. It was the memorial that was dedicated.
That's right.
To President Monson. It wasn't the square. But the idea here is to, there's an economic purpose to it. The farmer's market and all of the other activities that bringing people into the downtown area, there is a purpose for that. It isn't just haphazard. We want people downtown, and for a Saturday a month, we close off First West, and we've done that for we did that when President Monson came and did his presentation. We closed off First West. So, I mean, it isn't something that isn't something we've done in the past. Again,
You're saying that Library Square or
But
the park
Library
is
Square-
too far away from town?
it isn't Main Street. It's Main Street is what we're trying to focus on here.
Well, yeah. And as far as it's sitting right now, what's wrong with Main Street the way it looks now there at that park? Has anybody got problems with it?
With Main Street, with nobody with vacancies? Yeah, I have issues with that. I have issues with a lot of the stores not having, I have issues with not being able to go onto Main Street and having a real good selection of restaurants that I can go and enjoy. You know, yeah, I mean, there's things we need to do. You know, we need to encourage people to come into the downtown area. It isn't, so my mother had a dress shop way back when she was back in the day. It was called the Classic Shop and it was on the corner right there by the light. And people back then, that's what they did. They came and we had at least three dress shops in Tremonton. We had all of these other things that people came and they the Main Street was full, and it was what we're not. I think it was brought up that the people do their shopping differently now. They do. They shop online, but they can't eat online. They've got restaurants, you got different things that you can do to bring people into the downtown area to make it more of a community sort of thing. So anyway, we've got to kind of keep moving along. Have you got anything else you need to?
No, but I don't see how, they've still got the opportunity to come down and open up a business there without a farmer's market.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, Dave, appreciate that.
I want to say I really, really appreciate all of the input. I wish you all would have been here when we were first putting this square together. I would have loved to have all the help. We had zero budget. We went the best we could, and we didn't think about the Veterans Memorial until we got into the square a time. Now, I used to work for Julia's husband at the telephone company, and I got the opportunity and privilege of being able to travel through 3 or 4 states by car, going through all of the small towns and seeing all of the developments and things that they did in those towns.
Colleen?
And worked with many of them.
Colleen, could you address us, and then also can you just give us your name so that the recorder can get your name? And then address us.
Okay, well, it's them that's talking. I needed to talk to them about what I did. Okay, my name's Colleen Johnson. Sorry, I'm not following protocol. The placement of the Veterans Memorial, I have to take blame for. As I traveled through these other communities, and I would see a Veterans Memorial and how supported it was and how necessary it was, we started thinking about putting a Veterans Memorial. Many people wanted it down at the cemetery, but we had a space for it where we felt like it would be a public view and that public could enjoy it and use it for their own memories and their own traditions of their family. So we did put it in Midland Square instead of down at the cemetery. So I apologize to anyone that might be offended at the placement because that's my fault. I asked Ace to take over the project because all of you know Ace, and you know that he would do a tremendous job and be very thorough about it, which he was. It was tremendous what he did. when we first started Midland Square, it was to boost the economy of Tremonton and to get more traffic downtown. There's a lot of the little shops downtown that we don't even go into, that we don't even know exist. And they're trying to make a living, trying to make it a better place. And I think that foot traffic are being aware, are loving the community enough to get involved. And I'm just tickled to death to see the involvement. I think we need to have more hands to be on a positive aspect of getting our little town to be a place of a destination. I'm old. It's been a lot of years since we put that up. We had a lot of fun with it. And I know that the intent of this is to bolster Tremonton and keep it alive. In this era, when we are an online commodity of technology, it's hard to keep a business going, a storefront going. And so any help that it can get, anything that we can get to occupy our buildings. You know, as you go to Europe, you go into a building that's 500-600 years old, and you can still use it. You don't have to throw it away like a toaster. This is crazy that we have adequate buildings downtown that are empty, that we do not have occupancy of businesses that would bring better things. I can't buy a pair of shoes to go to church in. I can't buy a pair of shoes that isn't a cowboy boot in town. And so I think that we need to stop and work together, not be divided, work together with solutions and come up with some ways that us old people can buy some comfortable shoes in town. Okay? I think what they're doing, basically they're doing is leveling out. There's some raised areas that's 3 feet tall. I challenge any one of you to climb a 3-foot tall wall to get to the grass. And so any activities, even if it's a memorial, anything going on in that park is kind of prohibited. So no matter whether it's been dedicated or it's not been dedicated, it still has the need to be improved. There's always improvement and always ways that we can do it. And congratulations on wanting to have a voice to what's going on in Tremonton. It's something that we need positive voices and involvement. If you don't have a solution, we're part of the problem. So let's get some solutions and get this thing going so that everybody can be satisfied. But roll up your sleeves, guys. It doesn't need to have complete funding on everything. And I want to appreciate that was the 4th Ward priesthood that came out and rolled their sleeves up and helped move dirt. We did have contributions, and we appreciate those immensely. But there was one heck of a lot of good old-fashioned elbow grease that put this thing together. And I just would hope that we work together and have good feelings among each other with the efforts that we put together all those years ago. So that's all I've got to say. It is my fault where the placement is. I'm sorry.
Don't feel bad, you've got that spot.
My name's Chan Popples and I'm a vet. I grew up in Tremonton. I took part in a lot of the traditions that happened in this town. Dragon Main Street in the 80s. If any of you guys remember that, a lot of fun. Caused a lot of problems and that's why it ended. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of black marks on the highway. Well, they've recreated that in an event that happens once or twice a year, the Bananas and Mugs. I don't know why they call it that, but they recreate that and people come out in droves to watch those guys with their old hot rods and their old cars and the burnout contests in front of CarQuest. And I see people walking through that memorial all day long. I think that can be an important part of what Tremonton is in the future. We can incorporate that memorial into what this town will become. There's plenty of room for farmers markets. Library Park, everybody's said it already. I think you got a community consensus of where something like that should go. There's room, the murals in this town are nationally known. Let's not screw up something that, there was an old hotel and a bus stop there before it burned down, and this city turned it into something wonderful. Let's not ruin that. Let's build around that. I don't know many small towns that have a memorial like this one does. And we need to protect that, enshrine that, and turn it into something that we can broadcast nationally. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Mormon. I am a Main Street business owner. I work very closely with our Main Street businesses. I also run our city's farmers market and was actually part of this project. From the beginning, we've never decided or even contemplated moving the Veterans Memorial. We know it's extremely important and we never wanted anything like that. We've done the farmers market for 2 years now, very successfully. We haven't seen anybody do anything to cause harm to the memorial. If anything, I've noticed people actually sitting there reading the names and paying attention to it more. And my business is directly across from the square. Farmers market is when people are in that memorial, noticing that memorial. Very rarely do I see people there otherwise. The point of this is to bring people downtown to support our businesses because our businesses are dying. We recently did our leakage report. We are only collecting 16 or 17% of the revenue that we should be for retail in our community. That means most people are shopping outside of town, and that is why we have empty storefronts, is because people are not supporting local. We need businesses here to support our tax revenue so we can continue to do things. But if people don't shop locally, we aren't going to have these businesses, and it's going to hurt our tax revenue as well. So we need to attract businesses that are unique to our community, that you can't go online and shop for, that bring people from outside our community in to help with our tax base. And that's what we're trying to do, and that's what this is for, because we need this to get people here to be aware that our businesses are there. And so I really hope people can understand that. It's a much bigger plan than just redoing the square. Thanks.
My name is Jamie Poppleton. Been here, talked to you guys several times in the past about certain things with the community. The turnout here is amazing. There's been people that have come to council. We've talked this to death. They approach you guys with their voices, their feelings, their concerns, and people quit coming because they don't feel like they're heard. I just ask that you guys really take into consideration everybody here and what this town means to them. Because this town, our business was on Main Street. It was on East Main Street. We provided food for all of Box Elder County, some of Idaho. It's the simple fact that Tremont and Main Street has the businesses, but you also have Tremont on North and South. I worked for Aspen Pine Video for years. I watched Tremont and Cleaners go down the drain because they weren't getting businesses, because they're one block off, North and South. The businesses that are on the North and South streets of Main Street don't see a lot of the traffic. So to expand it blocks both directions, not just east and west, would be huge for Tremont. You have the soda shops, you've got some thrift stores, there's, trying to think off the top of my head, pizza places. the town is the town. Beautifying just Main Street is one thing, but don't forget about the little people that are on the side streets either. And if you can expand it, like I said again, both directions, all four, I think that would be huge for Tremont as well. And that's just all I have to say.
Thanks, Jamie. Why don't we, have we got any new information that you want to share?
Hello, my name's Darlene Holt, and I have a planning department background. And so I wanted to address the issue of you guys trying to organize, and you have a planner you want to hire and things like that. So I wanted to encourage you to do a TRC meeting, a technical review committee meeting, so that you get your other departments involved in your review of your site plans for your town. And so some of those would be your utilities, your transportation, be UDOT, and your zoning people. I mean, maybe one or two people kind of do a couple of different jobs here, I realize, but your National Park Service, if you have an area that involves that, and you have them review those plans so that that planner isn't the one who has to know all the ordinances and regulations, that the people that are in the different departments, they're the ones that have to know those ordinances, and that's why they should be reviewing the plans also. They put their comments on the site plan, send it into the planner, who is reviewing it, and then they can put it all together and approve it or go back to the person who's filing for the building permit and tell them what they need to revise on their site plan. So that's just a suggestion that I'd make, and I'd also ask you regarding this Midland Square, that you take into consideration the comments that people have made today and not just blow it off. It is very important to the community, as you can tell, and I think that it warrants a reconsideration of the concept plan, and I recognize the difference. So I just want you to know that I think these comments that have been made are very important to the people. It's from their heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene.
I'm Deborah Long. My dad, Eldon Borgstrom, his 4 brothers are at Midland Square. We are working on something to get it down at the cemetery too, because I send people all the time. When I was out delivering mail, whatever I'm doing, they want to know about the Borgstrom boys. I send them to Midland Square, I send them to the museum, I send them to the cemetery. I'm glad you're not thinking of doing anything about that part of it, but people still need to have all of that area really as respect, to ponder, we need to keep people up, not on their knees. When the flag's being raised, we need to teach people a little more about respect and what everybody has lost. We've all lost somebody. And I agree with City Center. Let's get some businesses in. Let's get some food businesses in. You need my help, call me. I'll help you. I love to eat. I'll be right down there. But anything I can do, and I just want to say to all of you, thank you for every one of you that have put up Midland Square in honor of not just my dad's brothers, but everyone else.
Thank you.
So, I appreciate it.
If, going out on a limb here, if there's a few of you that would like to, we could meet with, we can, this is not, all of the solution is not going to be made in a public comments period, but you've brought up a lot of concerns and a lot of issues that I think need to be talked about, addressed. Nobody here is we're not in any way trying to desecrate something that is great. With the memorial particularly, I think that we can work something out here that will make this a better place for everybody. We'll have to just have some discussion, but if a few of you would like to come forward and maybe after the meeting, we're going to go on with some other business now. But if there's a few of you who'd like to get together and we can talk and we can work out what will be best for the square, then we can do that. There's been quite a bit of effort and put into the plan. The idea being that as it stands right now, it is not really very useful in terms of its uneven surfaces and the 3-foot wall and a few things like that we can straighten up and make it something that's a little more well, it will be more usable, but we can talk about all that kind of stuff. So let's go on with business now, council.
Can I say something?
Sure.
One of the other things that is on the forefront that we're thinking about is we want to make sure everyone knows what we're doing and we're transparent and you know what's going on. So we'll be providing ways for you to watch this progress and progress of other projects as we move forward. And so watch for some of that to come out in the future. So
one thing, this is Councilmember Rohde's idea, that maybe what we do is we'll have some QR codes located on 1000 North, where there's going to be a huge road project this summer. There's this with Midland Square. We can keep everybody posted on what's going on there and that kind of thing. So I think that was a great idea to do that. So we'll go ahead now with our new council business. Council, we got discussion and consideration. I've got oh my.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, why don't you come up afterward and we can talk about it. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-14, approving a professional services agreement with CRS Engineers for engineering services associated with the design of the Cedar Ridge Well Aquifer Storage and Recovery Project. Mark, do you want to, and I'll just pitch in wherever.
Yeah. So as we heard in our work session with Mark Chandler, we were granted the funding for the for the ASR project from CDBG, and these engineers have the expertise to be a project manager for CDBG funding, which requires quite a bit of extra oversight. And also, they're well versed in what it takes to do an ASR project, very qualified. So this is the agreement that we would enter into with them to provide this engineering service and oversee the project. And it's all paid for through the CDBG funds as well as the $1.1 million from the state.
Any questions, council?
As well as what?
The $1.1 million from the state, that's the next item B, that grant.
So I just need to ask, so that grant is going to cover the full expenses of these engineers putting this together? Is what's going on?
Yeah.
We probably need to explain that we had Mark Chandler come in, who was the engineer over all of this. This has been a topic that we've been talking about for quite some time now. Anyway, we covered it for a good half hour before this meeting started at 7. I'm going to go ahead and Make a motion that we adopt resolution number 24-14 as written.
Second.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second, motion by Lyle Vance and second by Wes and Brett. Let's start over here with you, Jeff.
Jeff Hood, aye.
Blair, aye. Lyle Vance, aye.
Brett, aye. Wes, aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-15, approving a water infrastructure grant contract in the amount of $1,107,302 between the Utah Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity and Tremont City. This is the one that'll in part pay for the ASR project and the equalization basin and some other things.
Yeah, so if the council remembers, to pay for service area 4, we hired a professional who writes a lot of grants, and he was able to get us $2 million to pay for service area number 4. We had him on retainer because we were paying him month to month, and we asked him to fill out the next round of water infrastructure grants for us, and he did, and we were awarded this new water infrastructure grant for a maximum amount of $1.107 million. And in that grant application, it was kind of a twofold. One of the first major portion of that was to pay for the remainder balance for the ASR project. And then the second portion of it was to construct the East Canal Equalization Basin. So those will be fully paid for with the acceptance of this grant contract.
Any
Let's make
Mayor?
a motion, we accept this at 24-1 or -15 for the infrastructure project grant.
A second.
I'll second it.
Motion by Blair Westergaard and second by Wes. Let's see, Blair?
Aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
This is exciting news, really, to get this kind of money. This is phenomenal. Brett, aye.
Wes, aye.
Jeff Hood, aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, everybody, and I agree.
Yeah.
This is what we want to see more of. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-16, approving the mutual water supply agreement with the Bear River Water Conservancy District. So every 5 years, we need to redo an agreement with the Water Conservancy District. As you probably already, the council knows that we wheeled water from the Bothwell Pocket and used a lot of that water ourselves, and then we also wheeled that water through for other municipalities like Yukon Water and some other places. So the Conservancy District and the city have this mutual water agreement, and like I said, every 5 years we redo that. If you notice that maybe I can go to it. No, man. Who's got that agreement up? Anybody?
I think he's got it pulled up. Right there.
Oh, that's what, okay, so it's section A right there. We commit that we're going to, we purchase 150 acre feet of water from the district. That's called Block 1 water. That's just a given. And then there's an additional 200 acre feet of water that if we need it, we pay the rate. But and then what happens, like I said, a lot of water wheels through Tremont, and then what we do is we actually have water that wheels from the Deweyville Springs into some of this. And so anyway, it's just a balance sheet. And so at the end of the year, we look at who's used what, and then whoever needs to pay pays. So that's the basic idea behind behind this, and so I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that?
Changes from previous agreements? Is it the same amount?
Just the two, yeah, I think it's the same agreement as what we had before. We just need to redo this every year, or every 5 years.
It'd be nice to know if it's the same agreement or not. I mean, you know,
The other thing is, this is the only part right here, and I think it is the same agreement, the 200 acre feet. I believe the block 2 water is, I think that may be new, but
Paul's not here, but
Paul reviewed it, though.
yeah, he
Paul-
reviewed it.
Yeah, Paul reviewed it as well as Sean did before he left. What I took, Mayor, was that we had this agreement and it was a 30-year agreement the last time. That's what I wrote in the recitals. That's kind of what I had researched. I wrote the recitals for this one, but in 1995 we purchased. We had a 30-year agreement to purchase 150 acre feet of water at the rate of $51,750 per year. And the agreement on this one, it might take me a second to. It's still that we purchase 150 acre feet of water.
Seen the price in it.
The amount of.
I just like when, Mark, when you go through and, you know, we're like, we go through planning commission and ordinances and we're changing, you redline those things that have changed and all that. It'd be nice to do that on something like this, to know
What the
this is
changes
the old
were.
agreement, this is the new agreement, and here's the variance, because I'm uncomfortable just voting on something, and
Yeah.
if there could be something in there that we're not aware of, and
What
so.
the changes are, yeah. Yeah, and I know that Paul and Sean and the Water Conservancy District kind of hashed out all of it. I wish I knew exactly, I'm sorry. I can find it out for you for sure.
Is it?
what I'm kind of.
And then this one goes for 10 years instead of 30 years.
There's the wholesale rate.
That says the 20,
They didn't put the
2035.
price of the wholesale rate,
Price down though.
but we feed to them at the same thing, and there's a lot of trade-off.
It's a big insurance policy that if our water screws up, we can get water somewhere else, and vice versa. So,
We put it on hold until we,
I'd make a motion, we table it until we find out what the old versus the new is in the contract. That would be my motion on this. If someone else wants to make a different motion, they're welcome to.
I just don't see where down there it said with the water rate, but I didn't see where it,
It's
mentioned.
it's their wholesale rate, so I think before it had an exact amount, where now it,
That wholesale rate will change, and this is for
but our
30
wholesale
years.
rate changes to them as well, because it doesn't lock us into our price, but the price, if the council adjusts our water rates.
Well,
as well, it
it's
would
for
change
30,
to them.
you know, I can see now why they're not putting a wholesale specific rate down, because if it'll change over time. But,
And then this is for 10 years instead of the 30-year initial one. So those are the two changes that I notice.
So what's to stop them from really raising that wholesale rate on us?
well, then they have to do the same thing with us. I mean, they have to pay us the same, so it isn't really beneficial to them to charge us extra, because whatever they do, we do the same, we reciprocate.
guess we gotta wait for price, we gotta wait for price, but
I just don't know that there will be a price is the only
there
thing,
won't.
because
You're
it's
gonna pay the
a
current
10-year
wholesale price.
span.
yeah.
They're not going to lock in a certain price. It'll maybe adjust over time, you know.
It's like buying crab, it's the market value.
Market price.
And whatever they sell it for, we buy it, and whatever that price is, they have to turn around and buy it from us for the same price. I think it's pretty safe.
Yeah, I do too.
Call.
Like they're making a profit on us.
Let me see the calls.
Anyone else is welcome to make a different motion.
Hey, while he's on the telephone, that water comes through Tremont to get to Garland, if Garland needs to buy some from the Conservancy District and vice versa. Are we the thoroughfare?
That's the wielding. That's the wielding.
So their water's running through us to get to
Yes.
Garland and running through us to, so what about the wear and tear on our pipes? We get water leaks all the time.
Really,
I've always wondered that. Bring another situation up.
for another day. I really think that this is, you know, we're good here. But if you'd like to,
I'll make a motion that we pass it of 24-16 for the water, because it's gotta be a rate that,
yeah,
Me too.
I tried to call, I tried.
I don't think they're gonna put a price on it.
I'll second it because I know Paul and Sean would have done their homework and done what's best for the city.
Yeah. I got a
I
problem.
just know that.
Yeah.
Is there a time constraint on this, Mark?
He,
Prove it this,
Now that's, they're kind of anxious to get this done. They need to.
is there?
Friday, because the county approved the same agreement, all of their wholesaler buyers were approving it, and that was kind of the email I got from Carl or Sean, or no, it was from Paul, because Paul got it from Carl, saying, asking if we could approve it at the next meeting, but, I did ask Paul, are you 100% confident in this? And he responded that he was, so.
Well, let's call Paul right now.
Remember, he's in DC.
Well, you can just say if
it's
the
only
vote
10.
passes, I don't know.
We've had a
Got a
motion
motion and
and
a
a second.
second, there's nothing to.
Okay. Well, I can call Paul if we need to, but we have a motion, Blair Westergaard, a motion on the deal, and then Wes has seconded it. Let's see, Lyle?
If there's not a time constraint, I would like to see the differences between last contract and this contract. It'd make a better decision if we had that knowledge. If there's not a time constraint, I vote nay.
Yeah, Brett Nay, same reason.
West Eye.
Jeff vote nay.
aye.
The motion, so what we're looking at here.
Gonna table it till the next
Motion,
time.
we table it until we find out that additional information and then bring it back to for a vote.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll need to have a second and all that on that.
Okay, motion by, trying to get back to where I was at. Motion by Brett.
You got Paul on phone yet?
Yeah.
Well,
But
hey, how's it going? Good. We're in a council meeting right now. We got a question with regard to this water contract with the Conservancy District. The question is the rate. You know, we have we understand the terms of it, except for the actual rate of the contract. Where are we at on that? Yeah, on the rate, I've got you talking to the council now. So are we looking at a dollar rate? It just kind of talks about, you know, it'll just be the wholesale rate with the Conservancy District. Maybe you can just enlighten us a little on that.
Well, the rate, I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's per acre foot. So, you figure we were paying like 98 cents per thousand is what it would equal out to on the other, and it's going to go up 35%. So that'd be like $1.30 per thousand, right in that range.
Okay.
That's just off the top of my head.
Okay.
And then I made the suggestion to them that instead of waiting, it's been 13 years since they've raised their rate the last time, 2011, that maybe, because I figured out it'd be equal to about 2% a year to do a yearly adjustment, because most of us buying their water as wholesalers, and that way we would could budget in. I know. So I don't know if Carl mentioned that to the board, because I sent him a letter and a write-up. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, it'd be about $1.30 per thousand.
Okay. Where it was about 98 cents per thousand as it is right now.
Yeah, that's what it was. The old rate was 98 cents per thousand.
Okay.
Paul, just one more.
We buy a block of 158 feet. That's what our contract is in that for 30 years. For the X amount of dollars. It was $52,000 a year. So it's going to go up from there with this new rate.
So Paul, other than the rate, is there any other changes on that contract from the previous contract?
It's basically the same, saying that we'll still allow them to wheel their water through our pipes in exchange for a couple $1,000 a year fee, a wielding fee. So it's all the same, just more or less going up. And it's giving them a long-term agreement that yes, we're willing to sell them water or to transport their water, because really in the long run, if you look at it, their water isn't getting it to their customer. We use it, they take our water in exchange, vice versa.
Okay. And they'll pay the same wholesale rate that we pay for the water that they wheeled through us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what it is, if they pull more, because there's been years where they pulled more than we, it backs it off of what we're using.
Okay. All right.
Is there a hurry to pass it, or can we go back?
I think we're probably going to be okay if we've got some questions on it. We might just table this until our next council.
Move forward again.
That can be done, yeah.
Oh, hold on. Okay, so just hold on a minute here. Just hold on a minute.
Our agreement isn't up until the end of the year.
Okay.
So it's not like it's something that's imperative to get done. But no, our agreement's good. The rate change has already taken place because they have that right to do that. So it's just extending our agreement.
Should be in there. Okay. All right.
But yeah, it can be tabled and we're, looked at again.
All right.
Because like I said, it's not imperative. It's just due the end of the year when our agreement's up.
All right. Okay, Paul. Thank you. All right. All right.
It just goes to show the importance on these ordinances that we have the information right off, so that
And that's
we
my-
can make a
it's-
sound decision.
It's kind of my slip up here a little bit because I've been working with Carl on this and I was more in tune with the actual volume going on and the interaction between the district and the city, so I apologize for that. That
So
was
does we want to make the motion again and have a
Yeah,
revote?
I think we're
Do
ready.
you want to do the motion again?
Yeah, I'll make motion that we do 24-16 to pass that.
I'll second it again.
Motion by Blair Westergaard and
Lyle
second.
Vance, aye.
Brett, nay. I still have a few more questions.
West side.
I'm concerned that it's not specified. Jeff Houghton, nay.
Okay. All right, so we have 3 in favor, 2 opposed. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Oh, now let's get back into business here.
Now, that's an increase of 30%, so that will go from 51,000 to 68,000. How does that?
They were there, but I think if you read in BI, so underwater rates, talks about the block 1 water rate.
Right.
And that's where Paul said the rate's already gone up because it says it recalculates every January 2nd of the subsequent years. And so they can adjust the rates at that point. So
It'd be nice if we couldn't tie them into some kind of a annual rate change of 2% or something like that as in a future contract.
Yeah.
This is something that we can, I can mention to Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of nice because right now it feels like there's not really a ceiling and.
I don't think they'll want to tie into that, just like we don't want to put a constant 2% rate on our water either.
Their water sales.
But with this 30% increase, how will that affect the public? Does it?
It shouldn't much because, like Mayor said, it's kind of a balance sheet. We're obligated to pay 150 acre feet, which was, I can't remember how many thousand gallons that is, but at $1.30 per thousand, so it shouldn't.
It's, I don't know what percent that is, but it's a small percent of the water that we use.
I think the main point of the contract is so that they're able to wield the water.
Well, we don't have a choice. I mean,
yeah,
we've got to have the water. I understand
right,
that.
and they are a major backstop for us if something were to go wrong. So,
okay, I will make a promise to you that I come back to our next council meeting with more solid information on that. So hopefully that'll resolve.
They say that they raised it, so we didn't have a choice on that anyway.
Yeah.
So we're just saying we're staying in an agreement.
Yeah, we're approving the agreement.
Go without it.
Don't we normally sell water too?
Mm-hmm.
We sell water.
Sounds like we've sold more water than we.
Yeah.
There's been years that we sell more, and
My understanding, we
they-
being the beneficiaries because we're selling more water than we're buying.
Yeah, I think it depends on the year because there's been years that we.
Price.
On and some of those other communities purchase.
They got more water than we do. Conservancy does.
Yeah, but they purchased, but we wheeled a lot of water from Deweyville into the system, and that's where.
But if we had a major problem, we would still have.
Well, we got yeah.
If not, then
We could pull from
On our
Bothwell
own.
and push it clear back through town. The way we've got our water set up.
Anyway, I will commit to you that I will have better information at the next, in fact, I'll get with each of you. We can get this, so you feel comfortable with it. Okay, moving on. Discussion and consideration of adopting adopting ordinance number 24-04, amending provisions from Title III, City Government, Part 3-1024, creation of a position of city manager, of the city manager appointment and qualifications of manager of the revised ordinances of Tree Mountain City Corporation, modifying the residency requirement of the manager.
May I?
Sure.
This is what I'm talking about. This is perfect, because I can look at that and I can see, oh, there's the change. And so in a contract like that, I'd like to see something
Yeah, I just.
similar. That's all. I think
I
that's
had-
what the whole discussion was about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
the information I received on the last one, just to give you background, is I already received the new contract with Sean's comments on it, but it was already the new one. I never did receive the old one, but we could have looked the old
I
one.
love this.
Yeah.
Because this
Right.
is so informative.
Must not have passed it by resolution. I can't find it, so.
30 years ago.
Yeah, I was trying to look
Yeah.
in 1995 and see if I could find the resolution, but there's not one.
You planning on moving, Mark?
Nope, not
Then
now.
I make a motion, we pass ordinance 24-04.
I second it.
Motion by Wes and seconded by Brett. Let's see.
Brett, aye.
Brett?
West Eye.
Jeff Odi.
Blair, I.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, consent agenda, we can kind of go through these, we can vote on all of these together, or we feel like we need to, I guess we can vote on them separately, but I'll just go through them. The adoption of resolution number 24-17, formalizing the completion of impact fee reimbursement to Sierra Homes Construction Incorporated, Heritage Land Holdings LLC for the dedication of 3.1 acres of real property and 3.1 water shares for a regional storm drain. This is the one we were talking about.
The park, right?
Down on the south end, south of the cemetery.
Park, 3-acre park.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Storm drain basin for the Harvest Acres Village development by recording a notice of completion and release. Part B, adoption of resolution number 24-18, ratifying an interagency agreement with the Department of Workforce Services for a community development block grant, CDBG grant in the amount of $200,000 for the groundwater recharge ASR system. So those two can be talked about individually, or we can just vote on them all together.
I can give a little background on each one if you want me to.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
So the first one, Resolution 2417, so to formalize this agreement, or the completion of impact fee reimbursements, so as Lyle mentioned, they Sierra Homes Construction, Heritage Land Holdings, they dedicated land to us for the trail, for the park, and some water shares. And once they started building their units in Harvest Village and Harvest Acres, we were able to reimburse them impact fee credits. And this is just saying that we have they fully gave us all of the stuff they promised, and we fully reimbursed them for what they had given us at the amount that we said. And it formalizes it so that we can record that formalization, and it's just the end of it. Buttons it up, puts a bow on it. So, any questions on that one? The next one, we signed the agreement with the community services, so the CDBG grant, that's for the ASR project that we talked about earlier today. We had to sign that agreement for us to continue to move forward and be eligible for those funds. We didn't put it on the council's agenda until we had more, until we had the CRS engineers ready to roll and make sure that was good to go. And so that's why we put it here at the consent agenda as ratifying, because the mayor signed that back in a few months back when we had to sign it to make sure that we were able to secure those funds.
So do we need to make an emotion on this?
We can just make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the consent agenda, both A and B.
Motion by Lyle Vance.
Second.
Second by Jeff Holt. Let's see, Wes, you're up.
Aye.
Jeff Holt, aye.
Blair, aye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
That aye.
Very good, thank you. That completes our new council business and the consent agenda. Calendar items, things we got coming up on the 20th. City Council, no council meeting on the 5th because of the caucus night. And mid-year conference, that's the big one. That'll be April 17th through 19th. Get with Lindsay.
I've already got you all hotel rooms, except for you told me no. So if your answer is no, let me know and I'll get it canceled. But
Yeah, I won't.
I didn't get you
yeah,
one.
I'm
You'd
out of
already told
town.
me. So the rest of you,
How
I
about
have
you?
a hotel
Are you in
room
town?
already.
You're out, aren't you?
Town. No, I'm in town.
Okay,
Are we in Europe? Come to St. George.
Yeah.
all right. Any other calendar items we need to address? All right. Any unfinished business items? I don't think there are. I think we're good to go, aren't we? Administrative reports, let's see.
Are we going to have a council meeting on April 16th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because we'll be down or traveling down that next morning.
Good.
So, yep.
You won't be here?
I'm gone the 8th through the 20th.
8th through the 20th of April?
Yeah.
So, okay, so you'll be here the 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a long distance from Europe, Brett, come on.
Okay. Let's see, Mark, can you give us the report on the moderate income housing numbers?
Yeah, last meeting, Brett asked for the amount of households that the city has that fall under the low to moderate income households. So if you scroll down, Lindsay, to the table, I know you can't really see it great, but 80% of area median income, we have 766 households. We should have 1,541. And this is as of October 22nd. That's when the report was published. They were doing the numbers in the springtime of 2022. So these numbers, are good as of the last time Zions Bank did this for us. So I found these numbers for you just to kind of give you an idea that there were 1,541 that we need. We have 766, which means we're 775 short. So I just wanted to update Brett with that and follow up.
Thank you so much. That's what I wanted. And the thing I would push back on this is I don't think our 766 is an accurate number. I don't know where they come up with that data, and I think we need to address that and get that more accurate so that we have a better picture.
Yeah, I think it's just redoing these studies as often as possible. Jeff?
Also, Mark and I had talked. Would you scroll up the page just a little bit? Nope, other way. I'm sorry. That one right there. Also, in October of '22, they made estimates on the projected total households that I questioned. And Mark and I discussed that about, well, at the time, they were truly making estimates. They didn't know what was going to be approved or proposed and where the market was. So those numbers, to me, are not accurate.
So yeah, if we want to commission another study to be done to kind of give us a better idea of where we are, or if we...
I think the question is are they driving us to push for more low to moderate income housing, and they want to hold us to that we're 775 deficient?
Well,
and so then if they're saying, well, we need to push that, I guess I would come back and say, let's make sure we have better data to make sure it is truly 775. That's all.
They're not pushing us. This was 2 years ago, what the state's rules were to do a moderate income housing plan. As you know, the strategies have changed, and now it's all about the strategies and what we're doing to implement strategies, and less on the how many do you have and how many do we need. And so, no, the state's not pushing us that way. They're pushing us to implement strategies to and goals to continue forward.
And what's the outcome they're expecting?
It's just that cities are moving towards these strategies that they have implemented.
This is Zions Bank doing the analysis, and they don't care they're just trying to kick numbers at us. So my question is, how much does Zions Bank charge us to do this analysis?
I could go back and look.
I'm serious, because if we've got Gardner Institute, popping around with our numbers, maybe this ought to be part of the study that they're doing.
Yeah.
So that we have current numbers, because Jeff's right. We just went through the highest growth that we've ever seen, and now it's back to normal again.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see where we're at.
Yeah, I agree.
And if they're going to charge us $8,000 or $15,000, and the Gardner is already up in our area, we ought to be going that direction.
Very good comment. Good time. All right. Any other questions there, Council?
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's see. We have King Farms over there on the north side of town. This is an area that could have been in our annexation, but probably is not really not maybe the best way to go. Mark's got a little more information on this. Why don't you just kind of fill us in?
So some background on this. Mr. Hancock did a trucking site there on the Canal Bank Road, right next to I-15, just kind of by Malto Mill. And when he did that, they improved the whole site, and the whole site, they had the north portion of it, which was Hancock's, and then the southern portion of it, which was Brant King. Hancock went for a building permit and was approved, a building permit in the county, and then came to Tremont and you know, I think we talked about the roads, making sure the roads were thick enough for his truck traffic, because it was going to impact some of our roads on that turning. Well, since he built and King did a lot of the groundwork for his site, and he also participated in bringing the water line down to the site. But his building permit lapsed, and so he had to go back to the county and ask for a building permit. And since then, the county has an annexation policy that says if you're right there contiguous with another city, incorporated city, then you have to go to them and ask if they want to annex you in. And if they don't, or if they're okay with you not doing it, then they need to write a rejection letter to saying it's okay, continue on with your project. And so that's what this letter is. It's requesting of us from Mr. King's engineer that we write this letter saying it's okay for the county to approve this building permit, and we don't want to pursue the annexation of the property.
You don't want to annex?
No, no.
You want to stay with the county?
We love you all, but we'd rather not.
And I represent that the way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just asking for.
They get the water from Garland. We do plow up to it and back, but
And then they're bordered with Garland as well. Do you need to get a letter from them as well?
I think we're probably gonna approach that and see whether they'd like us to be in Garland or in the county. I kind of think we're gonna end up in the county.
Well, we'd love to have you, but you want to stay with the county.
Yeah, it'd be quite costly, I think, to bore under the canal and connect to your water and
That's what-
sewage and all of that, you know?
That's what their letter kind of states, is that canal is kind of a good boundary line for the city. But, and because of the infrastructure that they put in with the Hancock property, you know, we talked about it at the DRC and thought that made sense as well.
Would there be any advantage to being in the city if those services were already to your place?
I think there probably would be. One would be sewage for sure, because we'll be on septic. That's, in my mind, not maybe as ideal as hooking to a sewage system.
I just wonder if there can't be some kind of agreement that if we do finally go that way with that kind of stuff, that option's available. to
Yeah.
We
us.
can always visit it down the road, I
Yeah.
guess.
If
but-
they stay in the county, it would make it easier at that point in time. when we-
Sure, yeah, if it was in Garden, there's no, yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I just need direction to say it's okay to write that letter, unless the county or the council wants.
We're not rejecting you, okay?
So
Send the letter, that's what Brant wants.
Okay.
All right, I think you got your instructions.
Thank
Thanks
Appreciate
for
it very
coming.
much.
You bet. Thanks for hanging in with us
You bet.
this
No
evening.
problem. Thanks a lot.
DRC reports, do we have anything to report on?
We have just a couple of things I mentioned in the letter I sent you on Saturday, but what's it called, Sailor Townhomes, right there by IFA. They're trying to move forward with their site plan and getting recorded as soon as they can. Jack in the Box is moving forward as well, and I think I updated the council on that when Sam was here earlier. So those were the two that we really talked about and are actively moving forward with.
Okay.
I mean, Jack in the Box is gonna be a go, but you know, they're looking that they might tear down and rebuild.
Denny's.
It'll make that little area a
Make
lot
it
nicer.
Way more towards them than a remodel.
Okay. Department head reports. Let's see. Chief Hansen, do you want to bring us up to speed?
Since you forgot to introduce department heads at the first.
Got a few pages of notes I'd like to go over.
Right, bring them on.
1 minute.
Door runner.
Is that a trap door? Just a couple things I wanted to let you know. With the help of Chris Scothern, he ran some final end-of-year numbers for me. I missed the last meeting. I was at fire chiefs meeting, state fire chiefs meeting, so I apologize for being gone 2 weeks ago. But Chris helped me run some end-of-year numbers. I didn't compare to the previous year. I think I'll be prepared next time to give you a trend of where we're headed. But last year, we ran 1,355 medical calls, total of 1,593 911 calls. So next meeting, I'll be prepared to tell you what that growth was over the previous year. But that was a lot more calls than I expected when I was looking into becoming the fire chief, right? Tremonton has become, or is becoming, a fairly robust, busy system. So we're managing it well with the staffing we have, but just wanted you to have that information.
One thing I suggest that you do when you put together some information, some historical stuff, is a comparison of response rates. And so, you put out that information here a while back where we actually improved our response rate.
Response times.
En route sort of thing. If we can get some information on that showing impact, I think that would be
absolutely.
fantastic.
I understand that. What our reaction time, how fast we were en route, total response time has been over our history, and what that total response time is now. Absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Really, really good. Really good. I'm having the crew is wonderful. They're such good people that I'm just enjoying it a lot. There's a lot. I'm not keeping up as well as I should. There's a few things I'm behind on, but I'm really enjoying it.
Are you still in Smithfield?
Still in Smithfield. Still trying to sell.
I'll tell
still,
you.
yeah, still trying to sell my
Bring
house.
him after.
Yeah, we've had some heartburn trying to get the house sold, but we're working on it.
Thanks, Brady. Chief?
Okay, just a couple things to update you on. There is a House bill, we're going to be required to have software to basically predict problems with officers ahead of time. We have a grant for that. It should be done by next week, and I'm pretty confident we're going to get that approved. That should save us, we'll just ballpark it in 20,000 range, hopefully over the next year, because it's going to be an ongoing expense. It's called Know Your Force. It's kind of similar to what Brett was talking about. Essentially, if I contact you as a police officer, you get a business card, it has a QR code, and then afterwards you can review that interaction. Now, obviously, some of those are going to be negative reviews based on the nature of our work, but I know other departments have called around, they actually have been doing really well, and they get a lot of positive feedback. And if it's just somebody, you can actually help influence the data if it's not a valid complaint after we review body cam, things like that. So that'll be good, and it won't cost us anything. I've been working with Mark to draft a pay study and market plan for the police department. We're pretty good in some areas we lack, and I think we can come up with some creative ideas to maybe fix those internally without negatively impacting the budget. Hopefully, that's what we're shooting for. What else we got? Skylar started. He's doing a great job as lieutenant so far. He's got a lot to learn. I've been working with him directly, and I hope to get him up to speed over the next couple of months. Let's see. We started to get everything approved. We're actually now getting money from our grant for the schools, and it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. So far as search warrants and crime go, we're on track for probably the biggest year of our history. Just in the last 2 months, we're at 4 warrants. We have a ton of open cases. Some are somewhat high profile, just things that we didn't really expect we'd get. Now that we have the resources, I think you're going to see a lot of proactive work, and we're going to
directly influence the community that way. So I'm really excited. And then this week we'll have 2 coming off the FTO, and we have 1 coming out of the academy to start FTO. So business is good. We're busy, but we're getting a lot done. Is there any questions for the police department? Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin. Zach, do you have anything for us? No?
No, I just come say hi.
You just come to see your kid and fell asleep over
Yeah,
there.
I forgot to leave earlier, so. No, I just wanted to say this past weekend, we had our daddy-daughter dance. We had 500, about close, not exactly, but really close to 500 fathers and daughters and staff there. That we had a great time. Jessica with Bear River Live came and did a little report on it. So she has it on her site if you want to go and review and see some of that. Basketball is starting to wrap up for our junior jazz. We had 800 participants this year, which was right on par with last year as well. So so our youth sports are going strong and good. Mark updated you with our level of service earlier with our park space. So just wanted to maybe remind you of that. As our residents, number of residents increase, then that naturally decreases because we don't automatically enter in more park space. So as we do continue to grow, that's just something to keep in mind. We need to keep looking at park space as well and open spaces to keep that level of service up. As he mentioned, if we do, with our current population, if we did put all 3 of those parks in, it would bring us to 4.9% on our, or 4.9 on our level of service. But as those residents continue to rise, that'll naturally bring it down as well. So we need to keep looking for other opportunities to grow our park space. Naturally, I mean, that's going to be something that we would look forward to, and where we don't have a ton of land around our residents right now available. So, yep. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, a question for you. So the goal earlier was stated to be 5.5, but you just said that these 3 parks would bring us to 4.9?
Right.
So they're not quite achieving the goal then?
Correct. So our goal is to get to 4.9 by 2030, and then by 2050 to get to that 5.5.
Thank you.
So over time, work our way toward that. So, yep. So no other questions then? Okay.
Council reports. Wes?
I just want everybody to know that there was a lot more about that whole cemetery thing than what was spoken tonight. I got a big shoulder and I can take criticism, but there was a lot more than what her side of the story was, and I would be more than happy to talk to anybody else about it, because I know all about hallowed ground. I know all about, I have buried in 5 years probably 140 people, and there is more remorse and more lack of sleep and things like that over what happened. That side of the story, I'm not gonna get in an argument over it or nothing, but there's a lot more to that, and I gotta let people know that. So other than that, I'm done.
Thanks, Wes.
I would like to thank the public tonight. I thought there was wonderful comments. I thought they were constructive. They were well thought with solutions. I love the comments tonight. Sometimes a little afraid of them, but no, it was a great night for comments. And so I appreciated all those people that came with the solutions and civility. And I thought we really heard some great comments tonight. So thank you.
Amen to what Brett just said too. And Mark, your little report, that was a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll try to
Keep that up.
do that every Friday or Saturday, so.
Thank you.
I think I'm the same with Brett. I mean, we got set, and you could tweak things and it still wouldn't really impact either way, but makes you think about different things.
Jeff?
I would just concur on a personal comment with what you heard from Brett. Thank you all for being here and for the others that were here earlier. A lot of the comments touched me personally. Our son is a combat veteran. 13 months ago, he was in Syria being under fire regularly. And we're still kind of getting over that. But thank you for all your service and the great things you've done.
And we do listen. You know, someone commented. No, we all listen, so thank you.
It's not gonna go our way, but it's not gonna go your way either, so.
Compromise both ways.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because I think that's what it's really going to come down to is a compromise, and hopefully we understand. We want to make sure that the memorial, there's respect and so forth for the memorial. But we also recognize that there's, I think we have an opportunity to sort of as a catalyst to help the downtown area, and that's important too. And so I'd just like to thank everybody for coming here tonight. I will sit around here. I'll be around for a little while if you'd like to come up and talk. And I guess with that, I don't think I have anything else. So council, we have one more motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Very good. Thank you.